A lot of people call it the trees. Where they come out. Then they go all for extension. I want to make it. Yes. Ready for the thing. Yeah. They bring it on. I can't find I wish it was one. I don't know what.
Let's get started. The first two are applicant driven, so we really don't have staff here, so. Yeah, you can always start.
All right, well, welcome everybody out to our Weaver County Planning Commission work session meeting for Tuesday, August 4th. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Looks like we've got a short, long agenda tonight. These are probably some could be some potentially long discussions, but anyway, we got first item on our work session tonight is WS1 Wagstaff North proposed R115 rezone and development agreement. And Mr. Douglas, yeah, you want to come on over and tell us what you want in mind, wherever you're comfortable. Okay.
Yeah, but you're starting more comfortable.
Yeah, come on over. Okay. It's easier for you to address this.
Yeah. So, well, right now, we're just looking to do a rezone on the property north side. We have reached out to Nilson on piece, try to tie everything together that way. But there's over 150 acres.
Do you have any plans or any concepts of what?
I have a conceptual plan. We can. I don't know. We can pass. There's something to that.
Is the 150 in the light, or is it all?
It's the whole thing. So the 150 will change. I don't leave when people and stuff, but there's the green part like
Great.
you guys are good, yeah. So open space now is 43 and the rest is 85. Okay, open space is in the green.
Oh, okay. Anything unique about it? It looks like we've got some roads kind of planned in.
Kind of roads in with the ones that they have with the corridors or what the general plan had. And when subdivisions are going around those guys.
And these are the ones that are already planned.
Yeah, they're kind of gonna be planned, yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, whenever you pull this up on geothermal boards.
Working on it right now. Sorry, I'm late. Sorry. Hey.
So I'm trying to make sure I understand this. You're looking for the R115, the rezone and what's the plan for the open space? Is that so no parks donation instead donating land?
Yeah, we have been in contact with the first, but I mean, it's still like just a rezone for now, so I mean, I don't know how. Everything.
And so it's just to make the density work out. So you'll have smaller lots and then open space and have the average
Could be,
R115.
yeah.
And kind of
I mean, I don't know if we've got that far yet, but.
Okay.
And these two other smaller pieces, so anything that's in green or is.
That's kind of where we were thinking, maybe open space
Open space.
or, yeah. you know, they wanted this big piece, but maybe a ride-in arena or something, Lance had said.
Commissioners, any thoughts or questions on this? So,
Just to get familiar, I guess, so like, where exactly are we looking? I mean, I'm assuming I can see the river, right, but.
is this the other property, Shane, right here?
So this top part is the part that Nilson Homes is doing, and down here in the corner by the big green, I believe is Heritage. I'm not sure the name of it.
Okay,
but-
that makes like an hour.
Is that familiar idea? And I think Nelson was in here on this one previously, on this portion here.
I thought they were up the road and across the street.
No, that would be Nelson's.
This one's Nelson's. We had this one.
That's the one they just did, okay.
So if you have an estimated density for the developed area, what type of homes are you looking to?
Just think this, whatever the, like the 2.9 per acre, or. That's now the ordinary, that's not in the general plan.
Because with the 43 acres, it'll probably end up being more.
I'm not sure.
Like, quarter acre and smaller. Once we do the, I'm not saying like plus or minus, I'm just getting an idea,
Yeah.
like, single family homes, townhomes.
Single family.
Okay. And like planned community within the HOA, I'm a little concerned about like the smaller park areas.
Like I said, we haven't really got that far, we're just looking for the rezone and then we'll move on from there, but once we, I don't know.
For me, to have the rezone, I would want a lot more detail,
As far as,
just what is planned there, what type of homes, what we're doing with the open space, just a little more direct.
like I said, we're gonna want to change the 2.9, stay the same as what the general plan called for in that area.
Do we need that much information to just do the rezone if it's already in our general plan of
It's,
being a future?
We have been.
Yeah, it just depends on what you guys are comfortable with. If you're looking to get the Parks and Rec nailed down. We do want to do that in the development agreement in advance, just up to you guys as well as what kind of homes. For the most part, single family dwellings, if we're just doing the single family, we haven't put a whole lot of restrictions on those. But if there's gonna be any kind of multi-family or anything like that, we'll get the sign statements.
So. Just. Not to muddy the water, and Director, tell me if I am, but you have Nelson here. Sounds like there's been some conversation. We have representation from Nelson Home. Is it outlined to have them, if they're willing to maybe give us an idea of what their thoughts are?
Not at all.
Okay.
Are you as the applicant comfortable with that?
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Like I've reached out to Lacey a few times just to get ideas.
Yeah.
Where they already, we're dealing with them on the top part, a lot of these, we're just doing ourselves for right now.
It might clear things up.
Well, if can, and I know they're happy to help, and we've had a good relationship, but there's no guarantee, like,
Yeah, no relationship, we'll get that, we'll get that, it's kind of a conceptual type of situation. So, if you don't
Yeah,
mind,
no, fine.
you say, and if you don't mind it.
But we've reached out to them and talked about making sure that our road connections match up and that, you know, Charlie's Trail connections match up. As you might remember from the last meeting, you know, we have under contract those parcels of families on the south part. Because we're planning something that sounds very similar to what they're proposing, just the 2.9 units per acre average over the site, single family homes, with some parks interspersed. We've been talking to the park district, it sounds like they have on their piece as well. We're just kind of going with their plan of park every half a mile or so. And we are planning to have an HOA on the portion that we're developing. Of course, it's up to them what they develop on theirs, but we have coordinated with them, and then also the Lomans view plan, you know, we've looked at it as it impacts where we come out onto 3600.
Thank you,
Yes,
Lacey.
you're welcome.
Okay. Commissioner, any questions or comments on this further?
Well, and so just the, Casey, to kind of give you an idea of what I'd be expecting, if you look at Nelson Homes, what they have laid out here, we see kind of more of an idea of what to expect with the rezone, and that's what I would expect to see. And we determine, you know, what would be kind of nailed down for sure in the development agreement and what's a little bit more flexible. But I think where the rezone is the only chance we have to make sure we get the specific things we need to meet our general plan requirements. That's where I want enough detail that we know we're getting, like the parks, the trails connections and the road connections. So those kind of details, and it doesn't have to be super specific, but a little more specific than we see here. More on these lines is what I think.
And that's what these work sessions are for, is to give you an idea what we, would like to see when you come back and, talk to us.
So really, we have everything but the lots on there. I mean, we do have the bike trail. I mean, are you looking
Yeah,
for
yeah.
more bike trail?
We can see the trails, but yeah, seeing how the lots lay out and then a little more of the connectivity. What do you?
I recommend that they don't show the lots on there, so they've got flexibility, on how to lay the lots out, just showing development areas versus really what we're concerned about is the parking improvements, streets, trails, open spaces. Space improvements.
There would be more roads within this though, isn't there?
That's a good question. I haven't done a full evaluation on how far apart these roads are. I did let them know that we are looking for at least one road intersection every 800 feet, so. We'd be looking at that. There's a couple of ways that we could do this. We could say, the roads that you see, let's just say, for example, that there's space for roads to go in between there. The roads that you see are the roads that are mandatory, they're required, they can't move. Roads that are in between have to meet certain standards. We could always do something like that.
And I'd be okay with that, and I guess we have specific lot standards that we put, and so I wouldn't be as concerned with how the lots lay out as long as we have a development agreement that specifies, our sector, obviously, like all of the detail. Okay, yeah, so.
Just kind of looking at this and trying to scale it just a little bit too, in these areas based on what's here. If this is, it seems like I'm gonna say that it's something up to scale. I mean, it's almost like, there's gonna have to be some more roads put in there. We just don't see where they're at yet. So, and that's kind of hard to plan for unless you're ready to actually plan it out. So, yeah, does that help, Sarah? I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, just the engineering me really doesn't like these for like site distance and like, I don't know. You can play on that.
Our engineer said the same thing.
Okay.
It'll be feedback, we can back it, yeah.
Sorry, I was distracted by that. It was like, just trying to cross the road and like
They're a little funky, yeah. Maybe the current plan is a little funky, that means.
Well, she was, just these corners right here.
I was just keeping straight for site distance and road crossing.
I was gonna say, because I personally liked the concept, I'm very familiar with this, I'm ready to say.
Right here.
And knowing, I get that, but it's like, as far as the way they've laid this out and what they're designating as open space compared to the river and everything, I think it would be a great place for that open space personally, so, for the open space, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about that. It was just those intersections.
Just
The curved intersections.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one in my neighborhood that's been a problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
The southern one that you see, north is to the, left,
Okay.
So the southern one that you see, east-west, that'll tie right into, the Heritage project on the, east side. Which will go straight to, the river essentially, so it's nice to be able to see that, just be a straight shot east-west. Connects to, 4300
okay.
west, so it's good to see that, and maybe even have that extended, by other property owners to the Wagstaff or which that is shown on the general plan.
But I don't think that would be like. Yeah, it's because you can't see when you do that.
Yeah.
Right. It's true.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
mine
this is Herrick.
That's mine.
But-
Yeah, if we could work through lot standards instead of showing actual lot, I'm fine with that.
Good, good. Okay. Commissioners, staff, I'm gonna, anything you wanna add to this sort of, to get them more prepared to combat?
We did have one question, as far as, single family attached. General plan doesn't call for that in this area, but if they wanted to do some single family attached, maybe around the park in the middle or something like that, how do you guys feel about that? Or does it depend on how it looks?
Yeah, I'd rather know what that's gonna look like.
Okay.
I don't know. Chime in.
I think the advantage would be as long as we're locked in on a density, it's not like they're getting more units if they do it.
That's
It can provide more diversity in the product, so that might be advantageous,
I agree.
but
That was a point of conversation that we had, having good diversity and product. One product that, Lacey's been thinking a little bit, or Nilson's been thinking a little bit about, they call them mansion homes. They look like single family dwellings,
Yeah.
but they've got three, one, maybe, mid-size home in the middle and then two townhomes on the sides, so really, they're designed in a way that look like just large houses.
I have a whole folder full of those.
You like them?
Aside from trying to peddle off the developers, so I like.
I did. I did.
Boy, if you get on Sarah.
Okay, stuff like that, we may want to have some design standards to go in development agreement, as long as it looks fairly decent, well, maybe we just have a concept layout or something that's a mix of it, but other than that, I mean, I kind of thought where it's out there a little bit away from other homes, it might be nice to have some maybe internal, single family attached, still for sale, homeowner occupancy kind of thing.
Lacey, I'm gonna trouble you one more time. So on the part that you're working on here, is there any single family attached plan for this, or are these all single family?
So we hadn't planned on any, but then Charlie let us know that you want a collector road through there that doesn't allow any driveways. So I did tell him if the county wanted us to look at being able to face something onto the roads, our mansion homes might be a good fit there. But we're not asking for them, but we're willing to do them if it makes a project that looks and feels and lives better in the end, which it may with. So you don't just have a wall of just backyards and backs of houses against that future collector that the county wants along the, is it 400 north?
400, yeah, 400 south,
400 south.
which is the bottom, so 400 south would be this guy right here, but if they could do some mansion homes, they'd use this alignment here. And this alignment actually really works out well because landowner over here is actually looking at, they've submitted a rezone application as well. And their concept plan shows 400 sliding right through and crossing the river at about 200 south, right where our general plan suggests. So seems like it'd be a good opportunity.
So we're happy to consider it. We're not coming and saying, please, can we have it, but we're happy to consider it because we think in light of the collector road, it might be a better option.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not gonna be the collector 400? 400. Okay. And it's gonna cross the river.
Yeah,
Well, where's it gonna cross the river with 36?
let's pull that up.
Or which one, or is it the chicken and the egg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, okay.
So the green field right here, that's the field that they're talking about. They're showing, yeah, if they can't do the mansion homes, it really doesn't pencil very well for a road to go through the middle of it, kind of like you see this thick line here, that's the 400 extension,
Mm-hmm.
which 400 would come across, come across 3600 right there-ish, and then really just follow the sewer line
Oh,
until it gets to 200 in Mary Slaterville. Which Mary Slaterville is aware of that potential connection, and it's on the regional transportation plan that Wagstaff Regional Council has.
so I know that 36 is a sticking point for Mary Slaterville, but is 400?
No, 400 is the one, well, 200, I guess at that point is the one that they were okay with, but 36 was the sticking point. Yeah, 36, 100 west and 700 north were both sticking point. 400 seemed like lower hanging fruit. Yeah. So if they can do mansion homes, it might work better because then they can kind of face those mansion homes on an alignment that kind of cuts through here and then comes down. Otherwise, they're struggling to make it work, having mansion homes along this alignment. So they would just kind of set aside a 50-foot wide half width on the southern part of the property, which is where the sewer line currently is right now. Yeah, in fact, let's see if I can grab that in the tree. So that's kind of the setup they have without the mansion homes down there, where this would be a half width future right of way, just set aside for 400 connection, or you could have a 400 connection that goes through here and just lined on both sides by those mansion home, county style.
The concern comes from, that area needs a connection to the other side of the river.
Yep.
And so which one is it gonna be? And so that we can kind of plan around it for, our portion, kind of.
My thought, where the Alberts across the street, where they have a rezoned concept plan that shows this alignment right here. Hard to see where the main alignment through the middle of the screen there. If you keep on going to the east, they pick it up right from there. If we don't get that, at least in some reasonable time when the Alberts are ready to develop, then we're just gonna have chicken and egg. It's gonna be who comes first and do they actually put the road in the right spot? If it's put down on the southern property line where it's just the half width, we got a couple of challenges there. The installation is gonna be deferred to some other time by some other people, whoever that is, hopefully developers, not taxpayers. And it may not be in an ideal location to go through the Albert property. So if 400 was shown as the southern property line here, then I would want the Alberts, when they come in to talk to you guys over the next few months, to have theirs lined up on the south, which means it goes through a little parcel that neither of the parties own. And so that's just another player that, may or may not want to even play ball in the equation. So in my opinion, longer story short, having whatever we need to have that right away right through the middle, not the southern one, but the one right through the middle, line up on 400 as an 8-foot wide right of way, with mansion homes or townhomes or whatever is needed to make it work. It's less taxpayers have to pay for in the future, less subjectivity, less what's the word, more greater certainty. That's the word I'm looking for.
Birds in the hand of the bush kind of situation.
That's exactly right.
And these kind of houses would be, they wouldn't face the road,
The mansion homes,
or they can face the road,
they can face the
but
road.
not access off the road.
But no, they get access, I mean, because they're joined, they'd access in the rear or behind, they have shared driveways too, so we could do some shared driveways. Right from the road, but yeah, the intention is as little access directly from the future 400 as possible. Would be the best.
Well,
So in my opinion, it's always better to have the buildings face the road, even if they don't get access from it. It's just a lot of times it's hard to get developers to see the benefit of doing that because they can't sell those lots for price much if they're right on that place from the road.
Well, here's the quandary. You leave 8 feet. And then it never becomes an 80-foot road.
Right.
You've got something there that nobody's really gonna be all that excited about, right?
Right. And it's not in someone's backyard, it's behind someone's backyard, yeah,
Yeah,
bunch of different challenges with that.
right. Anyway, okay. Commissioners, anything further on this? Any more advice or questions that you want addressed in a future work session or meeting?
Just for the applicant's sake, and maybe even find out it is for that. I mean, like recap, like what it is, what we expect from it, because I'm hearing we want more detail, but don't put the lots on there because then it gives you more flexibility. So like, I feel like they have the roads. For me, I don't know what else we would need personally.
So maybe either more of the inner roads, but we want to work through, then the development agreement, I guess, would come through with the rezone. We make sure the development agreement has enough detail that we're okay without the lots. So that's what I was saying, if I was okay with that.
Is there anything else?
Is there any resistance to townhomes or anything like that? To both of the Lacey and to
Shane?
Douglas, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Douglas, I remembered your last name. To both of their concerns.
As far as me, for the proposal of townhomes, no resistance. It's always comes down to that last meeting with the community and listening to what they know.
And what they look, what they are.
Yeah,
I mean, if they're worthwhile and they look like they fit the community, I have no objection to that either.
Out on the busy road, like the one that dumped out, right? 700 or something, the main road.
I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. I don't personally want to live in a townhome, but it doesn't mean they're not needed in the community, right?
And I'm glad Sarah made it clear, and it is a good clarity to have, and that is, then it doesn't mean that it raises the density. So, you know, and they do have value, in the community, so.
I do have one quick question, just to make sure I'm on the same page, Shane. So if I'm looking at this like this, this is 4,300, right?
Yeah.
But this is like sliver of property that you own that touches that Herrick Road at 4,300. So, okay, so that alleviates the previous questions with another applicant on having that access out of there, so then that gives you a lot more.
Well, but see, the original property was not just the sliver,
Right.
it was this whole thing.
Yeah, so it's all that.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Right.
Sure, I'm looking at it correctly.
Does that help?
Then we don't have to worry about figuring
Do you have
out
any
all
other
that.
questions or concerns for Al? Do you really? No?
Really, it's a development agreement question at this point, I think, right?
Okay. Cool. Perfect. Well, thanks, you guys. Appreciate you coming in. Okay. Next item on our agenda, WS2 Riverbend rezone and Bitton Herrick open space and amenities discussion with Nilson Homes.
Thanks for letting us be here tonight. I know y'all have looked at this concept for Riverbend. I do have some copies to pass around if anyone wants a refresher on that. Sorry, I left some of that in the meeting, so something I have to do that. Thank you. So.
I'll be your service
I
animal.
know you asked that, you asked that you go talk to the neighbors. So we've gone and talked with all the neighbors that we've been able to get a hold of, down here. Really appreciate them making time to chat with us. We talked with the Alberts. Charlie mentioned earlier that I guess they just submitted a rezone application the last day or two. We spoke with them. They just wanted to make sure that we were providing a road to the north so that they could get a second access onto their property. So I think we're on the same page in that one.
Is this the Albert property right here?
That's actually not the Albert, this is a little corner cut in right here.
Oh, okay, right here.
Uh-huh.
Just this right, here. Okay.
Yeah. This is the open space that we're gonna be dedicating to the county. And so they just wanted to make sure that the county would just record an open, right of way or an easement through there so they could get access eventually onto our road. We're fine with that. We wanna.
So you just extend here, this would just be
The
extended
county
here.
would just extend a right, record a right of way there, so that when they were ready, they could be.
So when they got up to their 30 lots and needed another egress,
We're doing what we always do, and not everybody's on the same page, because when we say right here, we're not seeing it up there.
Sorry.
Look at it, for you.
Talking about where the turnaround is.
So we're pointing it right here.
So this one always confuses me because north is to the left.
and the Albert property that we're talking about is right up at the top. You can see that, what looks like a dirt road going down through there.
Yeah.
It's property north of that.
Right there.
Yep, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so, that was their only request, is just that we put a road in a place that they could connect onto in the future. We're happy to do that. We met with Kent and Kathy Hanson. They are the property owner just south of us, right here.
Where's that at up here? Okay.
So as we met with staff, they let us know that the county wants to have a road that connects through here without a lot of stop and turns. So that's where you can see we made a little adjustment to make that road that's closer to the future open space continue through. How's that? We're gonna bring this one through instead of this one. Okay,
Oh, okay.
So dated.
What's this one here?
Different.
Different, totally different.
Totally different.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna continue this road over here instead of putting a lot here, so
Yeah.
they can go.
Yeah, we won't do the connection that's farther to the west there.
That is-
We'll just, that's why, yeah,
That's north and south there.
yeah.
Not east and west, okay.
Yeah. The Herricks were kind enough to get found together and meet with us this week also. they're not excited about having a subdivision next to them, which is totally understandable. We did talk about, again, providing connectivity to them through our subdivision. And we told them that we could either bring this road through to the property up here on the north side or this one on the south. Their preference out of that two was the one on the south that we're showing.
Do we need more connections? I guess I don't have a good scale on how often we're gonna need a connection once we do this.
So we start running into the river right there.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, right here, the floodplain. Okay, that's why. I remember us talking about. this
Yeah,
before.
it kind of
Yeah,
cuts right in there.
if you look up at the screen, we're talking about these lots right up in here.
Oh, okay.
What kind of chart off there? They did also request that we fence off that road stuff, so that people don't get confused or bold and end up on their property, and we think that's a great idea, we're happy to do that.
And will all of this be fenced as well, like the back?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that they're.
Yeah, we'll fence the perimeter, they have a fence there right now for their farming operation, but we would put a privacy fence as well.
Oh, this is the one next to it. Yeah, space. Space.
We've been working with Lance Peterson from the Parks District. We're gonna donate, Charlie, would you mind pulling that down a little bit and just showing the open space parcels that we're gonna deed to the county as part of this? So all of those right there around the river, it wraps around, it's 20-ish acres.
The 3 parcels.
This one, yeah, that one, and whoop, that there.
And then the one south of that as well. What you're looking at on the plan right here, where the houses end is kind of by the red line. Can I show you on the screen of what I'm saying?
You need a photo coming out, Lisa?
Yeah, will you please, Mike?
Ben and Mike.
So these 3 parcels will be the open space parcels that are to be dedicated to.
And then just so you can see where this fits in, Mike, will you just point out where these lots are right here?
Yep, so this is the northernmost piece, that little hook, and then they go down through here. So this is the lots, and if you were to take that map and point it up, that's this piece right here.
And then will you just show where the road would go and then where Albert's are?
Yeah, so the road to Alvarez, it would continue through, we would start, our development would stop here, and then there would be an easement or a right of way that is dedicated by, when this property is deeded to the county, that would allow the Alvarez to connect right there and come down through.
That would give them, thanks, Mike, that would give them their second access. So we have been working with Lance Peterson, been great to work with. I don't know if you have any questions about open space. I think last time everyone was happy with the idea of getting that river, those river parcels preserved. Yeah, that's good.
Those are big areas for open space, I like that.
I like that.
Generous.
Are we going
If you look at the general plan.
to have any sort of,
Yeah.
It's right in.
I mean, all I'd be looking for is just like a parking space there built. I mean,
yeah.
buildings and stuff are great, but just like a parking area to access the river would be
Right,
nice.
so that's the second part of the agenda item. Is,
There we go.
now, we've purchased the Bitton Herrick subdivision.
Right here.
That's up on the other side, west side of 3600. And as part of that, we've had numerous conversations with both county staff and Mr. Peterson about putting in some amenities instead of paying the fee per door there. We'd like the amenities to be on the ground and usable for people who live there now instead of accumulating for a someday project. So as part of that, sorry, let me grab my other hand out. As part of that, we would like to do some improvements as a part of this phase 3 and 4 package. We'd like to do some improvements to a small park that we have in phase 1 of the subdivision.
This is gonna run right through here. You've got a little, some grass and landscaping in it.
And that open space sits right along the slope. So there's currently a small park there. It's just in sod, there's some trees, some bushes and kind of some planted beds. What we'd like to do is install a picnic shelter, some sidewalks through there and a playground area. And then have that become, I don't think it's reasonable to expect it to remain private if we put some really nice appealing playground stuff in here. People in this area have told us that if they want to play somewhere, you gotta load the kids up in the car and drive down to the elementary school. So we'd like to have something that's walkable for people in this area, especially with the homes that we're gonna be building up on the west side of the road in the Bitton Herrick subdivision, and then the ones in this neighborhood. So we would like it to become public at that point. I've had some good conversations with county staff and with Mr. Peterson, they're willing to think about it. Is that accurate, Ron?
Say that again.
You're willing to think about the possibilities of that becoming public?
We're willing to think about.
Yeah. Yeah,
Would you have a walk trail from there down to your open space on the river?
yeah, so we've actually got a walking trail that cuts right through the middle of the neighborhood, and we're planning to continue that. It's kind of the red dashed line that you can see here on the concept plan.
Down like this.
That would come all the way down, and then Charlie has asked us to look at getting a trail in the right of way here, and then you can see where it pops back into the open space up here on the north end. The trail is kind of outlined there going behind the lots.
So is there an offset? Am I seeing this right on this trail? There's an offset here on this first block? On this first,
Yeah,
right here it is?
yeah. Yeah, well, it's just the way it lays out. We tried it a lot of different ways, and if we could go back in time and move the one that's
Where
already
you
built,
talking?
I sure would.
The mid-block trails.
It's
Oh.
down a couple houses, but I can't because they're built.
So there's no parking for this park, it's just a walkable?
It's just walkable, yeah, and I think it would really be used, it's maybe 400 feet to walk from the entrance of the other subdivision.
Right here to here, that's about 400.
And then it's very walkable within this community.
So is it currently like
It's just grass.
HOA thing,
Yeah.
or is it,
Yeah.
but it's not really a usable park, it's just more of a
You can
natural.
go throw a frisbee, it's got grass in it, everything that's shaded the darker green and where it's showing the playground.
Okay.
That has grass in it right now, and the HOA just goes and mows it, and I'm sure some people, take the dogs for a walk down there and stuff, but there's not really a destination amenity there. And so we thought it'd be nice to have something usable for people living there now.
Just for note, from the center of the Bitton Herrick property to this park, it's about a quarter mile, so it's pretty easy walk from there. And it could be used quite easily. by the-
I mean, those spaces,
Where was the parking gonna be?
So
There isn't any parking for this
Okay.
park here.
1.5.
Where's the parking for the car?
This, whatever this
Area.
is, it's like a creek, a natural.
That's the slip.
The slope, so 1.5, how much is gonna be a trailhead right here? Usable space, we're calling that.
Yeah, there'll be trail down here in a parking area.
Then that'll be public.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't proposed to improve that. That's something that we'll work through with the Parks Department. But I think they would like to have a trailhead down there with public parking and trail
I
access.
think it'd be better to have your parking in the open space. Rather than have the public parked up along that
Yeah.
3600, cause that's congested anyway.
is there gonna be any improvements done on the three parcels that you're donating?
So that, we're in negotiations on that, that's part of the conversation we wanna have tonight, is again, we wanna get stuff in place now that benefits the people who live there now. I love planning for the future too, and I think donating the additional parcels does that. But we don't wanna just do the land donation and walk away and then just do money that's accumulating for something, there's great reasons to do that. But our ideal, like, if I got to pick what happened here, is we would take our land donation and the fact that we're down there with our contractor anyway, bringing the road up there, bringing utilities up there, and do some improvements, maybe cooperate on a ramp grant, something like that, to get something on the ground sooner. That'd be my
Yeah,
preference.
I think for me, that has to be part of this conversation. There has to be some improvements done down there. This is great, but it's nothing.
No, that wouldn't be the whole thing. As far as the conversations that we've had with Mr. Peterson about the Parks District, is he feels like the 20-acre donation is above and beyond what's needed for this concept plan that we're bringing in for this community. What we want to have a conversation about with the improvements is having it cover our obligation with the Bitton Herrick subdivision to get some improvements on the ground instead of just writing a check.
So here's a question. Well, first of all, where is this parcel in relationship to this one?
Mike, could you show them?
Yeah, so can you zoom out a little bit, Charlie?
Sorry, I think you showed.
Oh, no,
me
no,
that.
you're okay, you're right
But-
there.
okay, they're both on.
So this is it Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah, this is that upper, or this is that smaller, long strip one there. Yeah, that one right
That's
there.
this right here.
That's this piece
Yeah.
right here.
Okay,
And then those lots that are
Oh,
on that
I
other
see.
plan
Right.
sit right here.
so my preference would be to, instead of developing this small piece here, would be to develop a trailhead that's nice here, and then it's connected with what, the
When you
rest
say
of
here,
the district.
Sarah, when you say here, you mean closer to the river?
Yeah. closer
Right
to the
here,
river.
right, she's talking about right at this end, right?
Yeah, so,
It's a lot. If it can be done, I'd rather see a nicer, larger park be put down there.
so that's kind of my thought, and I don't know how much can be contributed, but I'd rather see parking, bathrooms, pavilion, like, I'd rather see that improvement go here
McDonald's?
than. No one's gonna. Maybe a Chick-fil-A. No, but for me, I don't love this concept because I think it's very limiting in who it benefits. And it's such a small piece as far as the scale of the Parks District taking over it. But putting improvements here and to cover your obligation on this parcel, I think makes more sense.
And if there's concern about walkability from the Bitton Herrick one, well, don't people ever get out to walk? Because it's not that.
Well, I
Well,
just
if it's
think,
too hot, then you should stay in the house and we don't need.
then you're walking,
I
then
mean,
you're
but-
walking, the public's walking through the other neighborhood. I think
Sure.
It's better to gather down there
Yeah.
where.
You're right, less than a half an acre to this park versus, or not half an acre, half a mile versus what, a mile to the school?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be.
As far as I'm concerned, it's walkable to the school too, but apparently that's because I'm 60-something years old. But,
And it's,
you know,
it's a little rough when you got people going every direction.
yeah, but anyway, I think I'd rather.
This
see
will have improved walkways and trails to it as well.
over here than I would, and this should be taken care of too. I mean, this needs to be maintained. It can't be forgotten about.
No, it's just.
It is currently maintained.
But this over here is a better place to develop something into something that is more along the lines of what you're talking about.
Sure.
To have it accomplish what you're talking about.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? We've been kind of looking, instead of an either or, we've been looking at an and both kind of
Okay.
perspective here. Is the commission interested in having any kind of slough trail amenity that continues, you know, with Albert's coming in and things, or would this just end up being a dead end?
How does that match up with our trails plan?
General plan says there should be a trail there.
Okay.
In fact, you can kind of see it on the map there.
This is the
Oh,
slough.
it's got the dotted line.
But if we're doing in lieu of, for Bitton Herrick. Trail's great, and the trail needs to be there, but I think the time for the park comes first. And then the trail can come in with the Albert project and be worked in there. Now, that's just my opinion. There's 5 others of us here and staff, so.
It's a fair way to go. Yeah, and it may be better if we're talking about that piece and the trail longevity. Chatting with Lance a little bit, if there are trail opportunities that are not on-street trail opportunities and they're meaningful connections between parks, it seems like that's a good park opportunity for the park district. So maybe it makes sense for maybe a portion of this, the trail, for example, to be something that's done later with the Albert property. And I mean, even the Albert property, we still have 2 properties in between that we'd have to try and figure out.
Right.
So
It's gonna come later anyway.
Right, so maybe the playground comes now and the trail component comes with impact fees later or with funds that the park district has later. But I agree, and I'm glad the conversation is going exactly where we're going, because you guys do my job really well. It's the conversation that I've been having with Lacey for the last few weeks.
The other concern I have just with this in general is I just think it needs parking, because whoever lives there, they have friends that don't live there, and it just seems, I love the idea of a walkable community, but in reality, it just doesn't work. Like, there's always going to be some cars. We might have less cars, but
And
there
there's
are gonna be
room for
cars.
parking on that one.
There's
Or else it would be a parking lot and that's it. It's too
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
The rest of it's a slew, right?
And so that's why I'm not as excited about this one either, is I feel like we've got room to make something really usable here, and maybe this one just stays the place that you run around and throw your frisbee. And combine the money and the infrastructure and all everything into one location to make something really nice in one spot. Maybe easier to maintain as well.
Do the Bitton and Herricks want that, where I always called it something wrong, slough? Sorry. Is that where they want the equipment up there? Is that what they requested?
Oh, so it's the current place, it's just in our subdivision. And, you know, we've had families in the area tell us, man, it'd be nice if we could push the stroller somewhere where there's a sidewalk to get to a park, but. If you'd rather have them wait for something farther down, you know, we're open to possibilities. We just wanna. It's probably the old PTA president in coming out, but you know, we always told families, we're fundraising this year for something that your kids are still gonna wanna play on. Before they're too old and don't wanna do anything anymore, so we're trying to get dollars into use for families who are out in this area sooner than later.
How far out do you think this would be?
Getting that down to that end of it, what do you think, Mike? Year and a half, 2 years?
Year and a half.
Uh.
Yeah, I mean, it would be part of the last phase of this, which would be phase 4.
I think the placement is appropriate as well, like as everybody else has said over here in this open space. And if the elementary is the concern, that's gonna be easier to access here soon too, because there's gonna be a trail developed in that new neighborhood, the three other developers do, yeah. So, I mean,
But not just Bitton Herrick, so one will go through Bitton Herrick, but county's got money to build one on 900.
yeah,
Thanks.
so.
I have a question. If this is HOA managed,
Uh-huh.
couldn't the HOA at some point decide to add, like if the community, I guess I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what.
It could, usually the way the conversation goes is, how do we keep the public out from a liability standpoint? If they decide to, which is why they often don't go that direction. So that's why we were proposing that maybe the Parks District will want to take it over and have it be public, because it'll be de facto public, which is why the HOA will probably say no, thank you.
It's also a pretty big financial lift for an HOA. You know, a park like that is in the $200,000 to $300,000 range with all the amenities we were talking about putting in there. And as we're including it with the Bitton and Herrick development and with these phase 3 and 4 of Riverbend, we can assist with that financially. It allows us to maybe take some improvement money, put it there, and still do some improvements down on the lower part, parking and what have you, and really work with the Parks District to do something that's meaningful.
I think with what Mike just said, it even further solidifies why it needs to be closer to the river. If you're spending $200,000 to $300,000 on that little tiny area, that seems like a waste in my opinion.
And that was including maybe a slough trail if we ended up putting a slough trail.
Yeah, still,
That, you take
I'd
that
rather
out.
that money go further east. I know that sounds very blatant, I'm sorry, but like, I just feel like it'd be better use of the money.
Yeah,
Cause
good point.
especially if you're wanting to say it's a public park, there's not as many people who are gonna be excited that don't live right here in this community to come to that every time you think they're gonna be excited to go to.
It gets at the double edged sword. So I've been an HOA president, so yeah, I'd be like, no, don't want that liability, don't wanna take it over. But for it to be a public park, I think it needs to have public parking and more access, and so it's hard for me to justify this for the public when really it's only accessible to the HOA around it.
So,
Okay, no,
But that would be my.
Very good
we'll
point.
look at shifting stuff down to the bottom and we'll make you a great friends and family deal when you wanna trail someday.
she didn't learn that in the PTA.
Oh, I think she did.
Yeah, she did.
I'm past that.
How do you think things get done?
I was asking from family when I'm kind of bigger. Do you guys have any other questions on this concept, the way that we've reworked kind of those connections, after talking with neighbors and after hearing from staff that they want that through street to come through?
I think it looks good.
I mean, one quick point that, and maybe I'm off, but. I want it to be fair for everybody as well, and I feel like that open space that's being. Given, donated to the county is a huge chunk. I mean, that's a large open space to be given to us, so I want that to be accounted for as well, so, like, I mean, I don't know how you do the value of it or whatever, but as far as,
Marginally buildable.
Well, but I had to pay for it like it was.
well, I mean, but it, yeah, you can say it's marginally buildable, but it's also within our general plan of what we want for the county.
We need.
So there's,
Yeah.
I just wanna be fair across the board, not sounding like we're just trying to get every little
No,
thing.
I appreciate that, and, you know, I really appreciate that Mr. Peterson has said, hey, donating this much property is above and beyond what your obligation is for this number of lots. So I appreciate that you're
I
acknowledging.
mean, it's our job to represent everybody in the community,
Yeah.
developer and average citizen, so I think that, yeah.
No, I appreciate that, and that's something that we want to take into account as we figure out what improvements we can cover down here, which ones the park district needs to take care of.
Commissioners, anything else? Charlie, staff, anything else?
No, we told them, the target is, 10 acres per thousand with, about 60% of it improved, so we'll come back and find out what that looks like.
So is this gonna be another work session?
No, I think that this will come to a public hearing in, September.
So just so I'm clear in mind, so does this require a development agreement amendment?
So there's
In order-
not a development agreement already, so we're drafting up a new one.
It's a bit,
Oh, I'm sorry, you meant for the other
For the
one.
bid,
Herrick.
yes.
However you wanna handle that is great.
it's a good question.
My assumption would be that it would, but I don't know if it could be an MOU or something different. I'll wait to hear what you want, but sorry, on this one, yes, we are drafting a development agreement.
So is that change on that master development agreement for the Bitton Herrick, is that? I mean, not necessarily have to come back and pass through the planning commission, or it does have to come back?
It would have to be in the planning commission. That would even amend the
I'll need to look at it.
So then we'll be able to know what the details of that were then, because that was my concern.
Yeah, for the parks donation, that really would be.
Felix, did you do that one? I can't
I
remember.
did.
He did.
Some development agreements have clauses in there that say, hey, here's the adjustments that are administrative versus ones that are legislative. I haven't looked at it in the last couple months. I need to look again to see if this would fall under something clear in that language. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Sometimes we ask the planning commission that question. If it comes to staff, for example, Rick in an administrative review meeting being able to say, yes, this is being amended because we've got adequate equitable compensation. Would you guys be okay with that, or would you rather it come through you guys and through the county commission?
I'm perfect.
I would be fine if it went to the planning commission. Yeah, well, and the reason for it is sometimes when it's administrative, it doesn't get out. I mean, we still do the notice and all that stuff, but there's not as much information that goes out to the public. And so I'd like to be as transparent as possible and have the planning commission look at it, so that the public is aware of that.
So yell at us first and then yell at you.
They can yell at me, because they always do, if there's problems.
They're gonna yell at you, you're gonna get credit for it anyway. So
I think we-
like, have a voice.
So maybe an administrative item that goes through commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it, and if we can tie it to the other development agreement, it has to go anyway, so if we
Right.
just put it all together.
That would make sense.
Do we have to do another public hearing? That's.
amendment to the development agreement.
It would, it would,
Yeah.
and,
So it can't be administrative if it has a. public
yeah,
hearing.
and if we could tie it all together with the other development agreement, so it's all together.
With the Riverbend 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think it'd be good so that everything, they can see it all together.
So is that what makes it, so I'm confused now, I gotta back up, because if it was an administrative item, then we would see it as an administrative item through the planning commission, not as a public hearing.
Well, no, this would be a public hearing.
Okay,
So however you look at it, it needs a public hearing.
But we're saying sometimes the development agreement allows planning staff and legal to just handle the amendment
Yeah.
itself without you guys ever seeing.
And I think regardless, we're gonna be putting language in the Riverbend development agreement that covers how these improvements are tied to Bitton Herrick, so we'll have a public hearing on that.
Regardless, right?
That's why you're saying tie the two together.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Package them together in the same evening.
Yeah. Just so that you can see everything and then it all flows together.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You know, that way all the planners getting a fiery accident on the way down to a planning conference, the next planners at least know what happened.
Well, don't do that. And we're happy to have it type of, take 2 parts, I mean.
Thank you.
10 minutes apart.
Depends on if Charlie's driving or not.
That's exactly right.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Can you clarify for me the development amendment you guys are submitting here?
They haven't put one together yet.
yeah, there's nothing put together yet.
Talk about process if there was going to.
But the concept is to take the fee from Bitton Herrick and have it applied to the improvements
Yeah,
in Riverbend.
to the park that's being donated, the land that's being donated from Riverbend.
Right, and that's what we were gonna do anyways. Is this something that we need to?
Yeah, because the Bitton Herrick development agreement contemplates a cash donation.
Right.
Yeah, so that would be the change.
Right. Even if we don't agree to that as a park district.
Well, then they're going to donate the $7,500 to the county. Anyway, for the development
To
agreement.
the county or to the park district?
Well, to the county, then we're giving it to you. Unless we change that in that
But
development.
I think we're doing a donation in kind because we want them to actually put the improvements in on that property instead of just having money come through. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was thinking that they would actually install the improvements. And so it would be a fee in kind, is that what you call it? Donation in kind, that's it. A donation in kind.
It was just a spitball. It's a work session, so there's no actual proposal.
Yeah,
yet.
but it's a good question.
Yeah, I
But that
know,
is what we
like, there's
proposed.
nothing, I don't want him to feel like they've already made an agreement, because I don't feel like.
But that's what we proposed. That's what I was understanding.
Conversation.
Yeah.
So we were spitballing,
To
not
be honest with you,
proposing.
we don't have to.
Well, yeah, proposing, that's to say, it makes me accepted that.
So this is the first I've heard of.
Taking your money, I'll say it.
You know, and my point with them was. I would just rather take the fee and let us get the grant money, let us put out the bids. And not lock us into working with a specific person. Because this is not a subject, it's external over here.
It serves the same community though, and from the planning commission standpoint, they are going to be able to build it faster, more efficiently than the process of going through the bidding process and everything. Because I get bids all the time for projects and I do that for.
So I tell you what, so let's stop right here. We're going into territory now that we don't control. And we're not gonna control. This is conversation that needs to be had between the developer and the Parks District.
Right, and then-
Before, and then that can come back to us, however it comes back to us, whether it's in a public hearing, whether it's in another work session. Whatever, however that information travels back to us, it will travel back to us, but we're not gonna try and solve that problem tonight. That's not our problem to solve. So, thanks, Lance.
We're happy to have you on the parks district, because we want to be good partners with them. We want to settle on something that everyone's happy with. Our priority is just, we want the dollars put to use soon.
Yeah.
So we'll keep meeting with them and hopefully come to a solution that everyone's happy with.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
and just to clarify, we're not gonna say, okay, yeah, you're putting this much money and do what you want with it, right? I mean, it's gotta have an approval process of what actually is going down there, and so it's not bypassing.
We're gonna want a proposal on what improvements are gonna be there and.
This conversation kind of reminds me of my family. They're about 200 years in the future and we're here. So let's back it up just a little bit and let's let all the pieces come together and then it'll come back to us properly. That's my point. Okay,
You said that about your family on record.
I'm happy to say it. I'm happy to say it right to them. Great people, we just don't always get along. Anyway, all right, next item and last item on our agenda. Not on the work sessions formally, but Commissioners, do you mind?
I'm okay.
Okay. Mr. Herrick?
Okay, I'm Rod Herrick. Our family, we own the property adjacent to the Riverbend. And we've talked with the Nilson homes and that. Some of my concerns, and this goes way back 4 years ago, is originally Riverbend was 70 acres. 35 was to be developed. 35 was to stay agriculture. Well, that's all changed now. So now, there was originally phase 1 and 2 was 98 lots. Now they're gonna stop part of phase 2. And now 3 and 4, you're going into the agriculture property that was designated originally to be farm and agriculture. The problem you made here is groups, you gave all the water to the secondary system, left no water for the agriculture, so now they want to develop it. And I have concerns about this. Just like, they're wanting to rezone this down here now, which should have been agriculture. The Wagstaff property earlier, the same thing will happen. They come in, present this plan, get it rezoned to R115, get going, and then they'll come back and ask for a rezone and you'll change it. Big concerns I have is the roads. These roads are a mess out there. And people, you don't live there, but 3,600 and 400 south, you can't hardly get 2 cars by. The water, I want to know where the water's coming from. You're talking about hundreds and hundreds of homes, and I want to know where the water comes from. I have a farm and I'm on half turn, and the canal's only 2/3 full. There just isn't enough water for all this development, and you need to take a look at some of these things. And I'm sorry, but originally, my whole life I've lived here, it was 1 acre lots and no sewer, and you ruined the place. Sorry.
Dude, I mean, you're gonna get credit for it even if you weren't involved in that, so. Might as well hear it and have a voice.
Okay.
3600 West is a conversation point that we're.
Yeah, I think that's a valid concern for sure. I mean,
So that's kind of why I thought parking shouldn't be closer than it should be down.
And Chair, I can just address the water. Well, the more, and this is not a popular opinion, but this is the math. The homes use less water than the farming, and we wouldn't be able to develop if the water wasn't there. That's not for us to decide. That has been decided. When we do these developments, they have to have approval and calculations made and appropriate water to do these. And there is enough water for these developments. And the truth is, we save water when we develop because agriculture uses so much water. And so water isn't a concern of mine.
Thank you, Commissioner. All
Are
right,
you take any more public?
we'll take an exception, Gene. Go ahead.
Good to see you again. 5 years on this commission.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman Rick. Charlie.
Good to see you.
I want to look at the global picture of West Weaver. We live right in the middle of what we're talking about. On one of those farm roads that go like this, 36, 400 are. Take your life in your hand, leaving roads at night,
Or
all
and
the time.
during the day, yeah,
all the time.
like you turn around the corner and it's straight.
So West Weaver's going like this, subdivisions everywhere, circular, and we said the pledged rights for all tonight, property development. I'm against unwise planning. And I learned that from you. 5 years. So if we look at the whole, one side we have 12 and we have 47 great roadways. The other side, we have a railroad, we have canals, we have a big canal, we have river, and we have slough and wetlands. And they seriously constrict travel. Because we don't have the access, egress to these subdivisions that are going in. So all these new subdivisions coming in are starting to clog the road infrastructure in a very serious way. And so my friend Charlie, get your civil engineering hat on And everything you do in the future with this, going forward today and tomorrow, look at the roads really seriously. Because we have these impediments with the river, the railroad, the canals, the wetlands that are turning us into Walton Wall out there.
Yeah.
You do need to be concerned about secondary water pressure from, I don't know, that's not your issue, but. And so that's collaboration with others, but I can't say it's strong enough. If you don't plan better for the roads, the travel, you're gonna make a mess out of this. And I'll come back from the commission hunches, my friends. Joking. If I didn't know so many surgeons, I might still be here. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Just one point of clarification. No, not for you. I completely respect what you had to say because you've been on this commission before. But, and it kind of touches a little bit what I'm gonna say about what Sarah said. You know, we get a lot of fingers pointed at us as a commission, as staff. And it's you guys, made up of women and men. Guys is a general term. You guys. Well, we do the best we can with what we have to work with, and we have codes and provisions that govern this body. We guys are here to do the best job that we can do with what we have to work with. You guys are the ones that are selling your property. I have property too. One day it'll be me as well. That's what promotes this train kick. It's two trains smacking together. I do not appreciate, and I've never said this out loud before in public, but I'm gonna say it tonight. I do not appreciate the you guys and the finger poke in the chest that goes with it. We're here doing a job, we're volunteers. We take our fair share of abuse. And I think we all deserve a little bit more respect than we get when we hear you guys. Because we're not the ones that are promoting this, we're trying to help control it. And Gene, to your great point, make this work better because it's going to happen with us or without us. And when I say that, I mean as individuals. It's going to go forward because people are going to want to make use of their right as property owners to do what they want to do with their property. And generally in Western Weaver County, that means that a lot of us guys that have got a lot of gray hair and own a little bit of property are someday going to sell it. And if we don't, our kids are. So we're here trying to do a not so pleasant chore all the time. We obviously enjoy punishment, but we also enjoy this or we wouldn't be here doing it. And when I say enjoyment, there's different degrees of enjoyment. So, you know, use your editing on that. But just keep in mind, and this isn't as big a body as I'd like to have hear this speech, but maybe it'll get replayed in the future, or I'll get angry enough to do it again. I don't appreciate, and I don't appreciate for my counterparts here, that you guys think all the time. Because we're not the ones that start this process. We're the ones that are here trying to make this process as feasible for everybody as possible. Now, Mrs. Herrick, please.
I taught school for 30 years. I care about kids. The Riverbend, the slough that goes there, and I've had that water tested myself down at the state. That is so full of it. They diluted the sample. They had to dilute it, and it was off the charts, E. coli. You could have put that in the middle of a park. We begged them. We went to the health department, everything, begged them to please not leave an open slough in Riverbend. This is a problem you need to be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank everybody for this. We kind of had an unintended public hearing tonight. That's fine. Maybe it got some things out that have been built up for a long time for more than one person.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I touch on the roads thing?
Yes.
So,
Oh, sorry, but you can say whether you want to, you have to.
Go ahead.
I just want to hear.
we're very concerned about that too. In fact, as the more and more parcels come in the same area, same general area of, with hundreds of homes each, It's something that we're very carefully watching. I did unload the news, good or bad, on the Nilsons today about the need to rebuild 3600 West. And the need to find some partnership on that. A lot of the impact is gonna be Nilson, but it's not all gonna be Nilson. Some of it's gonna be Heritage. So and some of it's gonna be maybe the Alberts or whoever picks up the Albert property. But on this stretch from 900 south up to 400, there's not gonna be a ton left. I think there are probably gonna be more developed parcels than there will be undeveloped parcels here in the very near future. So 3600 needs to be rebuilt. We know that, and we're gonna try and find a way to make that happen, hopefully, as in phases as these projects move on. From 400 south up to the Heritage to Longview project, that road's gonna be rebuilt by the Heritage folks. So it won't be built to the full curb gutter sidewalk standard, but it is gonna be built to a much wider standard than it currently is right now. And we may be able to get use some impact fee dollars that we already have to get a pathway off the side of that at the same time. So you can plan on that one. That one has to be built within a certain period of time before Heritage can really get a whole lot of building permits in there. The 3600, I'm not quite sure from 900 to 400 south when exactly that'll happen. But we did put that bug in Nilson's ear today. 900 south, those improvements will happen from this intersection all the way back to the school for pedestrian purposes, but we'll also be acquiring right of way with that. So we'll put a trail in that right of way, but then we'll have enough area for the county to be able to go in and make whatever necessary improvements happen along that roadway if we don't have another developer come in the area that we can assign that cost to. 400 south, if we can work with Nilson's on the Wagstaff piece, the southern Wagstaff piece, we can have 400 south completely realigned to the benefit of the entire community. People on 400 south won't, well, at least where it curves up to the north, won't be imposed on by all the additional traffic. That'll stay a residential road. And then the new road going through, hopefully, going through these developments will pick up a lot of that traffic. So a lot of the folks who are already living on some of these roads, specifically 400, are not going to be affected by that, but everyone else will get the benefit of it. 4300 West, that'll be the next one in the queue. We can figure out what to do about that, because once all of Wagstaff property comes online, we're going to have quite a few lots and a lot of traffic on those roads. So certainly things that we are paying attention to. It's incremental, and it's hard to say build every road at all times everywhere. So we got to find out the right way and the right schedule in which that can get done. So working on it, slowly but surely.
Well, I appreciate that, Charlie. And I think what we have to take in consideration, and Gene, you're aware of this. You've done this, and that is, we want to get a lot of these roads paid for by development. And unfortunately, it's an ugly process, and we're stuck with what we're stuck with because there's no real other funds to do it with. So it's piece by piece. But appreciate that, Charlie, giving us the update. And we know, knowing that those things are being looked at, and you're making making the developers aware of what their contributions are going to be, so to speak. Appreciate that very much. So anybody have anything else before we move on to the next?
I appreciate the reminder as well, Charlie. When you were talking about that, I was thinking about the other one that we approved probably a year ago, but I don't remember what it's called, but it's the one that kind of goes like.
That's the Bitton. That's the
Bitton. So and we required quite a bit out of them and
a lot more than
the road that they're really probably not even, it's impacting, but not directly as much as this would. So I like the fact that we're making that known that is going to be one of the requirements or something that's asked for, I guess.
It's hard to see when it's happening. It's even harder to see when construction of those roadways are ongoing, especially if they take an entire season. That's just really impactful to everyone who lives there. So my heart goes out to those who live in the area, but trying to make sure that all the developers are paying for.
I think not to be offensive, but the reason why those roads may be the way they are now is because of the poor planning previously, right? But there's some really windy roads right there from houses that are really close to the houses because.
It is more just like natural growth.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like it just.
It was where they went with the horses in a lot of those,
Yeah,
where a lot of those.
I see,
Yeah, so they got more money, just
cows.
no way to see
Yeah,
the 200 years in advance or whatever, but like, that's why we're trying to do it the right way now, to make sure we don't have issues like that, to where when I'm coming around those corners, I don't worry about taking out a jogger, because literally, it is scary, yeah,
And
I've
just-
done it numerous times.
Just one thought for future discussion, if the slough is not something we want close to people, maybe we do reconsider having trails and pathways next to it. I like the idea of funneling everyone to a main trail, because trails that are used are safer than trails that aren't, so I'm a little concerned about too many trails. To a certain degree, I can see getting through the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But,
That's the plan.
but I'm a little nervous about the slough and the river, and I thought about that before the comment about the possible contamination, and so maybe something to consider.
If the water quality of that slough isn't good. Unless it's in a wetland, unless there's an issue for it,
Should be piped.
let's get a pipe in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pipe would give a lot more space for a trail.
yeah. Yeah.
But I think it needs to correlate with every other development, because there's a lot of sloughs that we're building trails around that kids have access to.
And they're all the same.
And it's not for us, it's not for us to determine what is healthy and what's not. I think we have other people that are telling us if that's appropriate or not, so.
Okay, next item. WS 3, I think it should be, even though it says two, general plan amendment review and follow-up. So. I don't know who's taking that.
I'll lead out. Tammy, you wanna weigh in as well whenever you have something to say?
Sure.
I generally don't have quite as much to say as you do right now.
That's it. Amazing.
Okay. Tell you what, before we start on that one, could we take 5 here? Does anybody mind? Take 5.
You're going over there.
Let's come back.
Just to the.
I have it pulled up now and I'm doing little edits here and there.
That's just let them know. So they know to expect it. This is what they're going to see. But basically, I don't know what they saw last time. We're sorry.
Well, what we've got in here, so I'm just.
Just one pretty bad spot.
I saw you in the parking lot.
What were you doing, two of you?
We ran into each other at Lava House.
Oh, boy, I bet that was fun.
My foot just barely scabbed over. Oh. I stood up and every joint bleeding.
I don't wanna bring it up, I know you're joking. I can't remember. I thought you could have said that. I left my arm. No, I would thought you were joking even more. Oh, my. I learned it really well. I did that. That was a bad job.
I was just to go to.
Oh, but that was fun.
It was way cool, but it took over to the.
I've got these one.
Right.
Alright, approved. I'll bring you.
I got this, I know what I'm doing.
I don't for like 7 years.
He literally just did this, he got the speech together.
Oh my God.
But he just leaned forward and.
Oh, we aren't.
I had, I mean,
Was working out the eye.
gosh, cause it was like a 20 foot. Oh, dude.
He's gonna be.
Man, it better change. But at the same time, you felt horrible. Somebody in the hospital.
The document.
We're too far out, you gotta use, yeah.
And what she does, he works But also I'm gonna update some of the, like the new building. Everything else as far as like. What are we doing?
It's all this house.
What are we doing?
What happened?
And that's the language, so it actually says. And then go in and so. I wanna done with that, we could. If we put it from the language.
I got it. Some of the guys off put it as well. You popped up right
And then I show them the between that. and
I'm thinking it's his.
that.
Right up under her glass.
Trying to work on other stuff. Trying to do this.
Did you see the guy that had the tube that was?
Cleaning it up and then.
Yeah, right. He got onto that. He was throwing. He was like, jump on it.
Just
split on your back. That's fine.
Let's see what came from. Yeah, that's okay, and then I've got the draft that I'm working on.
Okay.
Okay,
Ready?
we were on the last subject.
So we have notice for a public hearing for next week, the general plan update. That we're working on, and surprise. We're gonna show you guys what we've been working on. It doesn't look, it's not super sexy right now. Wish we were a little bit more, progressed than we are, but, spent a little bit with formatting and all that to get things ready to go. But to make sure we're making best use of tonight's time, I've got 4, items that I want to address with you guys and then get some feedback from you guys as well. And Tammy's got one of the 4 items here. Our public hearing next week, our goal was to get as much as we could done and have a hearing that you guys can make a decision if you want to. We still have enough time packed into our schedule for it to go another month if we needed to. We just rather have it done now so we can get it done with the county commissioners in September and get things done a month sooner if possible. The benefit, even if it's not 100% polished next week, which it should be, but if it's not, benefit of having a public hearing is you get people involved early in the dialogue. And so that'll be helpful as well. And if you guys want to punt it a month after that, that'd be more than fine to do. So with that in mind, let's start the conversation first around 4700 West really quickly. 4700 West and 12th Street. You can see on the screen, this is what the current general plan future land use map shows. But the county commissioners just approved your guys' recommendation for the modifications to the street regulating plan. Would you guys be comfortable if we just trim the fat on what we have? Oops. Trim the fat from here to essentially reflect what we're showing there. We made the mixed use commercial, the downtown area, a much smaller footprint, basically. You guys be okay with that?
Go back to it for a second. 1 or 2, just like the other.
It's actually.
Which one is this?
We get back real fast a couple times, 1 or 2.
Again?
Again, yeah.
What?
What, yeah, you're like, slow down.
Few people with 20/20 won't get it.
So I don't have it very well lined up, so it's kind of hard to tell how well it's aligned, but. So in number 2, you've got really just 4700 West is your main street. You've got a couple of cross streets. Really, we're looking at this from the scale of 25th Street. It's about half of the footprint of 25th Street. Whereas the general plan as it currently stands shows, 4 essentially 4 25th Streets as opposed to 2 with a couple of cross streets. So just kind of condensing that footprint a little bit.
I'm sorry, Charlie, will you repeat those last 2 sentences?
Yeah, so Here, if you're looking at 25th Street, as an example. This is about, the red polygon here is about the footprint of half of a 25th Street.
We don't wanna move 25th Street out there.
It'd be hard to do, right? Brick by brick. Just for scale, just for scale. Whereas our, original plan was probably for 2 to 3 times, that, so probably bigger than the 25th Street long-term. Essentially is what what our current adopted plan shows. So would you guys be comfortable, given we just barely adopted the street regulating plan that was a much smaller footprint, just changing the general plan to reflect that smaller footprint?
So, okay, so I mean, I have questions. So what are we putting where? Like, what are my colors mean?
So let's come back over to here, because they're about the same. So you're in the middle of the red. That's the mixed commercial, so you've got a wide variety of things that you can do, but you gotta have street facing commercial on that. Facing 4700, facing 900, facing a road that doesn't exist yet, which is Thousand Sound, right? And then as you go further south, all that purple would be vehicle oriented commercial.
Oh, commercial.
Yeah, that's where you have, well, vehicle oriented commercial allows for the same mixture that mixed use commercial does. But it only allows things like residential on the second story.
Okay.
And that's the purplish shaded area?
Yeah, as far as the orange goes, that's multifamily residential, which allows everything from single family up to stacked multifamily.
Is there something, I know this, I should know this, I should say, because I've asked you 1,000 times, is there something between purple and orange? That we could do? In some of those areas, like there would be not just residential above the commercial, but it would allow some residential in there and commercial at the same time.
So that's the red, that's the mixed commercial.
Okay,
Yep, so that is allowed there.
That's the one on 900.
Mhm. It's the one on 900, on 1000 and on 4700.
Okay.
Anything that faces those streets would be the mixed commercial. So basically, a mixed commercial, as long as you've got street facing retail space, you can have residential behind, you can have it above, you can have it, that's building behind. You only need to preserve 60 feet depth from the back of the sidewalk essentially for some kind of a mix or some kind of a commercial operation at the ground floor. Above could be apartments, could be houses, could be flats, behind could be same.
I was one that was really excited about that, so I was thinking, oh, that's kind of like going back to the traditional way of things, but I don't see those small spaces being utilized anymore. I mean, I'm looking at all those ones that are on 12th Street, just east of 1900. I know they're still building them, but they're empty. Like, as far as they don't have living space above them, but I'm just talking about just the business fronts,
Yep.
right? Like, I think it's hard to get the strip mall per se type look rented out right now.
It is.
I think in that situation, a lot of situations, we're seeing that municipalities aren't allowing enough density around them. And that's why they're failing.
That's the exact problem.
And so this one, I think where that orange is what will give it a higher probability of working.
Okay.
It's just the rub is for that front 60 feet until there is a market, till there is enough housing in that area to support some kind of a mix, or sorry, some kind of a street facing commercial. That front 60 feet either stays empty or it doesn't get built, which our form-based code doesn't require it to be built. You could start your residential or whatever other uses you have 60 feet set back. It's a further, everything has to be set back even further so that you keep that space open for when the market shifts. You can then start putting commercial in. It's not a perfect answer, because like I could give you hundreds of examples across the nation that they said, we're not gonna do anything here until it is what we want it to be. And it sat empty for decades because there was no market for it to exist. Hopefully what we're doing here is we're giving an opportunity for all of those other things to exist until the market is made. Just saving that stretch.
And I'm okay with that plan, like wait till it's needed, if that's what we want to see there in the future, to look at the 100, 200 year, you know, in the future, so we have those. But I wanna make sure that's the right thing for that area as well. You know what I mean?
It's a good question. It's the right question.
There needs to be some progressive planning, so that when all the boxes are checked, the density's right, when it can be successful,
Yeah,
that then the zoning can just change.
Just allows it.
and if it's gonna be, I know a few decades isn't a huge change, but you're talking 30 to 50 years, somebody might come in and just tear all that down and build what they want
That's-
anyways.
that's
right?
it.
So why not have something there that would benefit us right now?
It's a good
And
question.
again, it's the crystal ball thing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
so the thing that this does is, to your point. It ensures that there's enough space for those street facing commercial opportunities to happen. If we allow townhomes, apartments, whatever it is, or other types of commercial uses, office buildings, whatever it is. It's gotta be, and they're set back 60 feet, and then somebody wants to come in and put in,
Ice cream bar.
I was thinking Costco, somebody wants to put in a Costco. We're gonna have to tear those
they
buildings.
sell ice cream.
Yeah, and hot dogs, yeah, boom, done.
Pizza.
Got to meet you guys down at the Costco right after this thing. But basically, they're tearing buildings down to do that anyway, right? And so it's really that, can you second guess the market? Do we say this area is for a Costco type store? And if it is, how many different developers are gonna be coming in saying, oh, I sure wish we could put some residential right here. And then conversely, if you'll get the flip side, at some point, you're gonna have someone come in and say, man, I wish you wouldn't have over residential this area, so we could actually afford to build our grocery store without tearing a bunch of apartments down.
So something else we're seeing is when you mix that type of housing with the dense housing, developers, the places I've seen that are actually building that way, the developers are taking the hit by putting that commercial in, saying, no, it'll help sell the residential. So when it's as a package deal, it seems to have a better viability.
Built in.
Yeah, because then the developer's like, okay, well, maybe this commercial isn't super viable right now, but I get more density around it, so I can sell this commercial land for less than I would have had to otherwise, because I get the density of the residential with it. So I think it's all about the package and not having too much commercial. I'm a little concerned about how much purple I see up there, to be honest.
I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know, 1150 is a really easy.
A lot of purple.
It is, but it's a narrow spot for businesses that are busy.
I mean, I'd rather, and we've had proposals for this that people didn't like, but I didn't mind having the orange in that little corner.
Oops, miss which
yeah.
corner?
This one right here,
Yeah, that right
and
there.
maybe orange between 12th Street and the tracks all the way down is the way to go. Mixed residential.
I just think we just need a lot more rooftops than we know to support commercial. It just takes a ton.
Yeah.
And that's a good place for density.
So if we do residential between 12th Street and the railroad track. 12th Street needs to be high capacity, although slow enough to be friendly for people, right? It's not gonna be that highway bypass. If we do the mixed use, or sorry, vehicle oriented commercial, you could do the bypass as long as you got, slow down lanes to turn off and pull into those.
But it seems like both of those have the same amount of connections. If you look at Washington Boulevard, where there's commercial and the residential, I don't see that we have less access for one or the other.
Not a question of access, it's a question of
Volume?
people and livability. So you got the housing there, you're gonna have people potentially getting out, right? Walking across the street, especially if you got a nice walkable pedestrian corridor across the street. Whereas if it's just vehicle oriented, how many pedestrians do you see going down 12th Street? Happens, it's just not.
Yeah.
Will you go back to the other one, please? Will you go back to the
Number two,
number two?
what about 3? And 4?
Or is it better?
Then, I mean, cause we all know about me and 12th Street, right, and 4700. But, okay, so on the opposite side, on the north side of 12th Street intersection, where the orange comes right to the corners. I mean, I feel like if you're gonna keep a commercial corner, why are we not keeping like
right next to 4700 in those areas purple, and maybe taking the orange in a little bit, like keeping the purple more square and then moving the orange.
I'm just
in.
going to see if this is what you're talking about. So you're talking about
Thank you.
bring the
Commercial
orange
cross
into here.
commercial.
make it
Just a little bit,
purple.
and yeah, and then making it more, I guess, where's our city center? Have we decided where's our city?
Is this
center?
what we're going for? City center, right?
Right in
Right
there?
here.
Okay.
Well, for the pedestrian center, city
It's more
center.
there.
And this is supposed to be vehicle oriented, right? Am I getting this right?
Yep, you got it.
And, I mean, you can cross the street here and here if this is pedestrian. I mean, sorry, residential.
You could, in fact, so we've got those roads showing one every 2 blocks. If we did residential, I'd want to do at least one a block. But UDOT would be okay with that, as long as it's not going on at 47 when they want to put a bridge eventually.
I have a dumb Casey question that I know I've asked before as well, so I apologize again.
Probably not done then. I've remembered all the questions you've asked.
What do we define as our city center? Because I'm thinking
Really
like
good question.
old school, like the courthouse and things like that with businesses around and a place for people to go and meet during big events during the year or something.
Yes.
Or is that like Chick-fil-A and Nelson's Custard, or like, what is our city center?
That has been a challenge for us to nail down, especially when it comes to 1150 South right here in this area. If it is gonna be, if we do a Washington or 12th Street style, I mean, we'll get that kind of development and we'll have that kind of traffic. If we do a downtown Washington style, still have a good volume, it's a lot slower. A lot more frequent pedestrian crossings, but you got a lot more opportunity as well. So I'm game for whatever you guys wanna do, it's your community.
Well, the city center's over more around 900 South, which is more suitable for city center because it's slower. You're not on, even if the traffic is slowed down on 12th Street, which it will be over time. It's not that great big 105-foot facility.
Right, there's a reason
You're
why there's
awesome.
still a lot of businesses here bordered up here on Washington, even though you don't see that as much on 12th Street.
Right.
To your point.
So, and it has more potential for, you know, if you put a city building over there, place for a park around the city building. You know, or, you know, some sort of recreation, whatever, it definitely, it puts you in a different place to have that. Than what has been talked about before between 12th Street and the railroad tracks on the east side of 4700.
Mhm.
And it gives room for some growth. Do we want to be like Clinton City that had to move their city center?
Yeah.
I mean, they were forced, I guess, I'm gonna say probably more economically forced out of where they started.
Yeah.
But they had invested a lot of money.
Yep.
Initially. And then they, you know, had to move the, I'm gonna call it the city center, but the city building, park, fire station, park. All of that got moved. So really, it'd be better if we thought about this a little bit, thought about what the area is gonna look like eventually. And it seems like that this parcel here is gonna be outgrown. Yeah, right there, is gonna be outgrown fairly quickly.
Mhm.
I don't know. Commissioners,
Well, why did Clinton have to move?
remember where the softball park was and all that? That all become Lowe's. And the city building is
They didn't
now,
have to, they got paid to move.
well, okay, all right. Yeah, that's what I mean, that's why
Yeah.
economically
I get
they
it.
got moved, you know? So anyway.
It really is the question. It's one of the reasons why I haven't tried to push you guys to nail anything down here, because if we allow the market to be the market, which I think in a lot of cases is ideal, sometimes that doesn't turn out quite the way that the community had envisioned it. However, if we try and force the community vision on a market that's unwilling, that's not gonna turn out the way that anybody wants it to either. I mean, if we are a community that is okay with dozens of acres set aside for a particular type of use, and we don't need it today, we don't want it today, the market's not there today. And we tell those landowners, suck it up, and for, 30 years, we could be Draper City, who, I think I told you guys this, they created a downtown right around where their city building is, up on, what is it, 1100 East or something like that. At the same time, they're rezoning all of this property at the freeway interchanges. Well, the freeway interchanges, they built, like gangbusters. And it took them decades, if not longer, to start their city center. And I'm not even sure how far along they are in the city center. They may be more progressed than I thought, but I know up to 10 years ago, it was just empty property surrounding a city building. Because there wasn't a market to make it happen.
Well, and kind of what Casey was saying earlier, the old style, the form base, the business on the main level and the residential above it. That's kind of what I saw when we did the general plan previously, when we went through it, was that's what that would create over there on 900 in that area.
Mhm.
Is kind of that city center, old style, I guess, city center feel.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like. Then we still have, I shouldn't say. Then we still have the feeling though, I think from a lot of public, that this is a good area to have a city center over here east of 47 and between the tracks and 1150.
If I remember right, Costesso, when he was looking for his rezone, said, sure, make it C1, but at the end of the day, it's probably gonna be a city building if they do end up incorporating. This was pre-incorporation conversations. So he was hoping that corner would be city building. But ask how easy it is for Riverdale to have a city building sandwiched between a river and a railroad track.
I mean, Charlie's point earlier. The vehicles are gonna go to that area between the tracks and 12th Street. And if you limit how many pedestrians pass, but if there's pedestrians on one side, they're gonna be walking across, so I think we're gonna be hitting that no matter what. But
There'll be some.
isolating that, then it's like that whole chunk. If it's all undeveloped on that side, but we can develop the other side of the road, that might develop more organically looking, if it's just undeveloped on that one side to the tracks, but then we're allowing the rest.
That was kind of my thought, Sarah. Where the red comes down and touches the street here, it's not intended to face, they're intended to face inward, so.
Yeah.
This is still kind of your highway bypass that anchors the edge of your city. And your pedestrian city's in here, but if you aren't interested in going in, finding a parking spot, finding the parking garage, wherever else they need to figure out how to park, or like Ogden City paying for parking. They just want to get something quick to eat, so that now they're on this side over here, going through the, what do you say, in and out?
Yeah, in that Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, going through the Culvers right here, yep.
What is it? Cammy, what is it? Cause that's,
What's it gonna be there?
yeah, that's your territory.
Well, it's gonna be a while.
But I don't know, beggars can't be choosers for that property that we've had proposals on because the access is wonky, so.
Which that access being wonky may not make it great for commercial.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different questions here. As far as vehicle access goes, I know a lot of our conversation about 1150 south, we've talked a lot about the truck traffic coming and going. Regardless of the later part of our conversation, regardless of where the freeway goes to cross the river, it's gonna be west of here. And so most of that truck traffic, if it's going to hit a freeway, it's gonna grab that freeway, just west of here, or west and south, wherever it is. And so we don't have to worry too much about heavy freight coming through the village in the long run. But until that time, we do. Oh, which reminds me, I forgot to tell you, within the next couple of years, that was on my list, 12th Street's gonna be rebuilt as well. So list of things of roads that are gonna be built to try and accommodate for all the roads.
And I guess it depends on just how strict we stay to this, as far as blurring the lines, especially between that orange and purple. If we have a good proposal for orange or good one for purple, and this is a general plan, if we're right on the border and we look at it and say, okay.
It's general.
Yeah, we're cutting a little bit into this, but we're still So say somebody comes in and they're like, well, I wanna do all of this orange and it takes in that part, but we're still preserving this. Are we open to, okay, yeah, that probably doesn't need to be purple. or if the red comes in here, or if the orange sneaks into there, you know, it's just, it's more that I'm
All right.
kind of wondering. I mean, I can see we want to preserve some frontage right here, because that is your best, but if you have too much, like we have on Washington Boulevard, if you have commercial all along Washington Boulevard, it doesn't all sell.
Right, so I guess I have a question about 12th Street, and you brought it up, Charlie. And we're gonna get to it, so I don't wanna get you out of sequence with your program. But if you have a north-south that's somewhere west of 4700, maybe this will help me from having you have to spill the beans sooner than you want to. So. And if we for sure are going to get that in the next 10 years, that will eliminate the heavier traffic, meaning truck traffic, because all those trucks want to get north and south, not east and west. Because they need to get on I-15 somewhere, either on the north, either at the Box Elder or Weber County line, or down in Davis County. They don't care, but that's the direction they're gonna be going. So I guess the question becomes the timeliness of that going in, and how much of that kind of traffic we're gonna still have going east, directly east and west on 12th Street.
Good question.
Because it kind of says to me that if we get a Washington Boulevard type traffic situation on 1150 South, that's pedestrian okay.
Yeah.
Not necessarily friendly, but it's pedestrian okay.
Yeah.
Where the traffic that's out there now, if that facility gets improved to a 105-foot facility, and you still have a lot of heavy traffic going up and down that, meaning big loads, trucks.
Yeah.
That to me is two different things.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a lot of that kind of traffic on Washington Boulevard.
No.
But you do see it out there, and you should, because industry's out that way.
Yep.
You know,
And oddly enough, you see a little bit more of it on Wall than you do here on Washington, right?
Right.
It's a nice little bypass. Yeah. As far as timing goes, I don't know.
right,
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but I think in the long run, the vast majority of port traffic is gonna go north-south on that freeway. You'll get a little bit with their intentionally going east
right.
to continue to go east, but not likely to go east to get on I-15. Well, hang on, unless they're going north and north, the north version of our freeway out west doesn't exist yet, right? So then we'll see a lot more coming through until we get the northern extension.
And it's gonna be heavy for a long time.
So,
I would
Better
say,
spill the beans.
I'd say 10 years,
Yeah.
at least.
so that kind of changes how I think about it, in that, does it make it better to make that residential, or does it make it better to leave that commercial? I mean, it's a quandary for me, because you don't, if we knew what was gonna happen and it was 10 years away.
Yeah.
And we knew that traffic pattern was going to change, or the type of traffic was going to change, then I'd be right now saying, yeah, let's shrink that up, because this is definitely gonna be more pedestrian friendly. And make that city center go north on 4700 a little bit, or over in that area, over more toward 900. But if we're gonna be, 20, 30 years before we get there, then it doesn't, then I look at it a little bit differently.
Chicken head.
Yeah.
I have a couple thoughts. So if you keep the purple, maybe your city center can be that quieter city center. And you have your Chick-fil-A, your Nilsons, all of that down, and that's not part of your city center.
And leave the center up.
And leave the center up. And I also like the purple down there because my parents live in between 1150 and the railroad tracks. I used to live there. That train is loud.
Mhm.
Oh, you get used to it. I sold a couple of homes.
I mean, people do make that comment, but then, like I said, you've got all those, everything along Midland has got that train that runs behind it, and it's all those townhomes and all that stuff, and they're all full. And they're on a busy road.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I mean, I get it. I mean, we can hear the.
Right, we can hear the train where we're at, and we were literally 60 feet, and had we stayed there a night, probably wouldn't have moved there, right? So I don't know the people that are there, but if you build a bunch of new places, are people going to actually stay?
When I was a kid, we had, 4 kids raised by a single mom, not a whole lot of understanding on how to maintain a home. And, we had people come over from the ward one time to visit us and, they said, "What's that chirping?" I said, "What chirping?" I said, "Wait, just listen." And then they heard a chirp, we're like, "A chirp? What are you talking about?" And they finally walked up, figured out what it was. It was a smoke detector. Battery was going dead. We had it had been doing that for at least a year. We had no idea. So,
Get acclimated to it.
we're just ear blind to it all of a sudden.
Do you think your house was gonna burn down?
I mean, I know it's hard to say, but like, we're gonna have all those major developments around there, right? It's big developments. There's gonna be, I would assume, some new, transportation methods, right? So is there a likelihood that the light rail could follow those railroad tracks somedown?
Yes, so
Because
the plan
when I
is.
think about this corner specifically, it reminds me of when we got off the light rail in Vineyard.
Yes,
And their plan was to put some housing there, different types of housing, right? People that wanted like commuter housing or something close to that. That's kind of what I see being feasible there because of easy access for that generation that doesn't want a lot of yard.
and the distance between the railroad tracks right now and 12th Street, for the vast majority of that, you could still fit at least a single, if not a double light rail track in there. I think our general plan, is anticipating the light rail, quote unquote, whatever it is, mass transit, whatever it is, on the south side of the railroad track. But the more we look at the logistics of that, especially as it comes into downtown, bridges are expensive. It might be better to keep it on the north side.
Which what we didn't see in Vineyard was commercial next to that. I think that would be a big bonus for, at
Light
least
rail?
what I remember.
So their whole parking lot is
now.
going to be commercial at some
Okay.
point in the
Because it
future.
was still under construction, it was all dirt. when we-
Yeah, they'll have a parking structure. all that.
Cause for me, I'm like, how, a little bit of some type of creative housing plus some food or, commercial type stuff. Service them and the rest of the community seems more fitting in that more central area, what we were calling our city center before.
Okay.
But that's just mine. So like when Sarah pointed out, we bring some orange this way a little bit, I felt like that was fitting because it allows some of those housing developments, but keeping the commercial next to 4700.
Can I change the subject and then come back to this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
For a different topic.
Yeah.
This up? Surprise! No, this isn't a big surprise. Okay, looking out west, you guys, we've seen this area here before. And this, go down, pass it around. So I took you guys' comments on maybe it's not, where the port boundary is, maybe we're not buffering the outside of the boundary, maybe we're buffering on the inside, and maybe it's not, mixed residential, maybe it's more like office space.
I think so, yeah.
So what you see we've done here is we just extended that light manufacturing into an area that could also be mixed office space. You could have office, you could have manufacturing, you could have a variety of things. So that's where that crosshatch comes in. And the reason why I wanted to shift here to this was to show you the crosshatch idea. And maybe we go back to the previous conversation, which is probably watching. What west are we at? This one is out past 75. So this is 7500 west, right here.
Okay. So is that 83-ish?
This is 83.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it.
This is where the extension of legacy, or this is where we're hoping that this goes.
So that is, the 8300 west potential expressway, freeway, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, Legacy is just a little bit north of the east.
East, okay.
Did I hear you say 10 years on that?
At least, I said at least 10 years.
At least?
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about timing constraints and just.
Well, I'm just curious, it's either way.
Is this what you guys were anticipating? Something like this where you got the single family residential lined with that brown, which is kind of business office. Which is right next to an area that's crosshatched for, maybe it's business office, maybe it's light manufacturing.
Yeah.
So they can come in, the folks in the port can come in for the vast majority of that area and say, hey, we'd like to do light manufacturing. But if they wanted to do a business or a tech park, they could do that too. It's kind of a quasi.
Well, I like the transition better. It's not just a hard transition from residential to, you know, big building.
Yeah. Is it scratch that itch then? Or is it still wanting?
So hard, because it's like,
You
yeah, how
know,
do you envision exactly what it's going to?
yeah, these aren't
Where's-
final decisions, we're changing it now,
Well, yeah.
so, but I like what you said better here.
Here?
Yes, yes.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not what John Price was asking for, because he would like to see some higher density housing there to buffer. I did tell him after we walked out of that planning commission meeting, when you guys mentioned maybe it needs to be flipped and maybe it needs to be business. I don't think he realized that we were probably saying not a whole lot of mixed residential in that area, but you guys tell me if I'm wrong about that. I could always add more mixed residential there.
No, I like the transition of it. So, but I'm like everybody else, it's hard to envision it right now, because there's nothing there, but, right, but at the same time, if I was looking at it when there is something there, I wouldn't want that hard transition.
Yeah.
So that's why I like it.
Part of
I like
our
this better.
part of our thought process here is if we go for whatever reason, 4 years or more, without ever changing the general plan again, hopefully we've got something set up where that port can succeed without having industrial buildings right next to single family residential. Okay. Now let's go back to the conversation we were just having. What if we did something a little bit like that with where'd my picture go? Maybe I clicked out of it. With that orange, what if we brought that orange in and allowed it to be mixed? It's either orange or it's mixed commercial. It could be either of them.
Orange or purple?
Sorry, thank you. Orange or vehicle oriented commercial. Yeah, what if that orange kind of cross-hatched inward? Here, is that?
I don't know what to do. So here's my other thought, just to be completely all over the place.
Okay.
So right now, do people want to live by the railroad tracks? No, but is there cheap land to develop by the railroad tracks? Yes, and will people buy it if it's the only thing available? Yes. And so I'm nervous that if we give the option, right now, commercial is not viable, and commercial is not going to be the first thing viable in this area.
No.
So if we give the option of residential, they're probably gonna take the cheapest land, where really we'd like the commercial land to be the cheapest so that we can incentivize the commercial people, because that's how Riverdale got built. That was cheaper than downtown Ogden, so Riverdale killed Ogden because it was cheaper. So if we want businesses out here, we need to have cheap land out here, and that land is gonna be the least viable.
It's never gonna happen. I mean, you have the hopes and dreams of cheap land, but that's not a thing.
Well, cheaper, relative. It's gonna be cheaper if it's got poor access and whatnot, and if someone needs a big parcel, there'd be a big parcel available. I don't know, so my answer
There,
is.
we call
leave it
that
the way you got it.
attainable housing.
Oh, attainable, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I throw something out here?
Please do.
So, where Front Runner is, the area to the north of there, when you go into the residential homes that are there, that is slated to be transit oriented development, in that section. The single family homes that are there, they're probably not the most desired housing, in that area. But for developers to come in and do transit oriented development there is it's almost unfeasible for them to do it. They're definitely gonna, if they do transit oriented development there, they will be building up in that area. But to acquire those homes and level them and then bring in the transit oriented development, that's been a fly in the ointment that stopped transit oriented development from happening in that area. And just FYI, transit-oriented development is creating a community, with housing and businesses and everything around that, that they can get on the intermodal hub and just take it off.
Yeah.
And so because of that area being identified as transit-oriented development and the homes that are there, it's really stopped the transit-oriented development from happening there. And I'm not saying that doing multifamily here is a bad idea. And that's why I've been somewhat quiet on that, because I think that this could go either or in this area. But once we put something in place in that area and we're thinking about something else 30 years down the road, it could have an impact, because that transit-oriented development that's right there by the intermodal hub, that was identified as transit-oriented development at the same time the intermodal hub was created. And so that intermodal hub's been there a while. And FYI, the intermodal hub, I did not want there. I was always fighting with Mayor Godfrey for that to be a Union Station. It's where it should have been. It's still, gets me. I know, but it still gets me to this day. But, or else, Union Station will be thriving today. But that transit-oriented development just hasn't happened because of the residential homes that are there. And so, if you're thinking about doing multifamily in this area, that could be a great thing. I'm not saying it's not, because the train tracks here and everything, but, I think it's important to just think about the big picture as well. Maybe the big picture is multifamily, in this area. And I think it could go either or maybe it is, vehicle oriented, mixed use, commercial. So I just wanted to throw some of those ideas out on the table for you to think about.
Residential flips a lot slower. Think about, Newgate Mall could all but be demolished now, right? But it was the thing that was happening in the weeds.
Sure.
My house was built in the 40s and no one in the neighborhood is thinking about raising it and putting up apartments or anything like that, so.
Like 80, 90 years on residential versus sometimes only 20 years on commercial.
Yeah, it's very short. You look
Commercial
where
flip fast.
Costco was, there was a Kmart there. And that Kmart's gone, Costco's there now, that Costco's gonna be gone in a few years and something else will be there.
So,
You could always put a Fred Meyer up and then tear it down and then do nothing with it.
Yeah. True, yeah. Yeah.
Where would everybody buy their gas if possible?
I know, exactly.
Okay, we don't have to make any changes with this area, and I know that we had, said earlier on that we probably wouldn't make any changes in this area, but I just wanted to bring it up just in case that.
So
that changed.
you're proposing to change it to this.
I think at the very least, change to just the smaller footprint that we have here.
And
But
then,
aside from that, we can, I can make as many or as few changes as you want.
the truth is, we can take each proposal the way they come. If this is what this is the general guidance,
Got it.
but if we get something really good that comes
Kind
in,
of scopes it,
what?
kind of scopes them to it, so they know what they can build.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it's important that we don't get too much commercial, cause Ogden City's made a mistake of that. You got Harrison, Washington Wall, and you got a lot of areas that are zoned commercial and they've created too much commercial for, their city. So I think, if you start a little smaller and then eventually go out, I think that might be a little wiser.
And that's gonna be really important.
but it is hard to go bigger. To your point, if we build residential, then we can't expand it. If
You're right.
opportunity arises,
You're
it's
right.
so hard.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing is because the rooftops, you would have to get the rooftops in there to get the commercial. And it's a juggling, it's a balancing act. And so you want to have enough area and plan for enough commercial area, but at the same time, you don't want to over plan.
You put a bunch of affordable housing between 12th Street and the railroad track, is the likelihood that comes down sooner to replace for a commercial operation? Does that go up, or,
I think that stays longer because people are actually living there because they can afford
and
it.
it's affordable? Yeah,
And then I
Nowhere,
think that your
John.
commercial will
I mean,
on the other side of 12th Street more because you have more distance.
say it again.
I think your commercial will extend more on the north side of
Side.
12th Street because of what Black Pine is doing.
Yeah.
And you have more distance.
That's kind of my thought too.
Yeah, I think you're going north is gonna be much more viable commercial in that area than right along 1150.
What if, well, we just let people put storage units on the other side? Because it was
Honestly, that might be the best use for it. Storage units that look like houses.
storage units. For nice looking barns, it's just gonna be a row.
No, but one of those-
Pole barns, they're all together.
One of those drawings you got, where it all looks like the house and.
That's the potion you gave me.
What did you say?
I'd like to see a little more.
I think
That's my
that orange would be much better than storage units.
Yeah, me too, but I mean, we definitely need some storage units too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right, and maybe you get the storage units behind the multifamily.
What would
You know,
we
up
use
against the
our
road.
yards for?
Yeah.
Good question. That's what I ask my neighbors all the time.
I'm not selfish. Now that we've had that discussion,
Big rights because UDOT has to maintain.
I'm not so sure that I would want the orange to the west as much. But
Okay.
I just struggle with this piece, that weird piece on the east, because.
which weird piece are you talking about?
The bend,
No,
a little bit further east, yeah.
And that's where, isn't that funny? That's where everyone wants to put the mobile housing.
See, that's what I mean, like,
So,
that's the only thing that we've had a proposal. Let's
And
look
that's,
at
and that's
it.
where they wanna put it and maybe be willing to keep the corner commercial.
That's what I'm saying.
What was the
I'm
price
just
of that?
comfortable for changing that orange,
For acre.
like where your
Oh.
purple dotted line is, like the orange, and then leave the rest of it
No,
purple.
I mean, I.
Maybe this area here.
Whatever would be feasible to put.
I just guess, I don't,
I'd
No, I
say
can't
just keep it
get-
I
on
just
the
wonder
one
if that's
side,
a super
not
deal,
the,
that's what they want.
not there, just.
Yeah, I agree.
Just down here.
Yeah, leave
So-
the other one commercial.
So leave this one
Yeah.
vehicle oriented.
Yeah.
Cause if you allowed just a little bit, so this area can be more the commercial and have some multifamily in through there, it still allows this to be functional. As an
You did a
intersection.
good job.
One of the things, one of the reasons I was thinking about bringing it over here, I don't know if it's all the way or just a bit, is so that both sides of the road complement, they speak to each other, even if you're not going across the road very much because it's busy. Having the form of those buildings complement each other, kind of helps define and establish that
So
that
maybe
community
just
way.
bring the orange on both sides to match the north and south, just bring it as far, so keep the intersections vehicle oriented, because that's prime commercial, but.
Maybe like there,
I
Well,
feel like that's too
wait
much
a
on
second,
that.
sorry,
too much.
kind of what we were doing before. Keep these corners, because that's gonna be your prime, and then, sorry, bring your orange over to here. And it can kind of notch out if you want to go back here if you want, something like that, and then over here, do orange. You know, kind of notch it out right here too.
I'm
And make the
no orange,
commercial
yeah.
smaller?
You know, you think no orange right here?
Well, I'm just thinking it would flow better without it, but.
Okay, then maybe just this one, but notch out your corner and, I don't know, get some more orange in here.
Okay.
I don't know. At this
Is
point,
that okay with that?
I'm just one, and then still we're spitballing, but that dark purple dotted line and then to the east, or even just a little bit further east, if you need to, if you're wanting it to match the other side,
Here,
that just
Oh,
be orange.
just-
Yeah.
that corner right there.
Unless that's not enough for housing, and then that just defeats the purpose of trying to get.
I don't think it's
Access.
enough, I think it's a little
Yeah, I think.
more.
That whole piece got,
Maybe you need to leave, a few, I don't know. I'd have to look how it lays out, like I think you.
So I don't want it to be more detrimental than it already is. I mean,
Right, like you don't want it to be weird, like
Yeah.
you need to have it so that, but then you'd have enough to have a commercial corner too.
Yeah.
But not, yes, but not like a weird little residential and then too much, yeah, it's gotta balance.
So is the next slide gonna be for just further west?
Yeah, what's the next furthest west thing too?
Let me show you what the next west is. So, I mean, that mixed, or that vehicle oriented commercial on the general plan comes way out here. Right?
Yeah.
It goes way down, that's too far.
I think it's.
I think we wanna keep it next to our city center, so we're
Yeah.
focusing everyone right there and then eliminate that other portion.
So maybe this chunk over here turns orange,
Yeah,
this stays mixed, sorry, vehicle oriented commercial, and this goes orange.
yeah.
So I'm here. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
If it came to you in a hearing next week and nobody said anything about it, would you approve it?
Yeah, as long as the community's okay.
Okay, just
Yeah.
trying to gauge how much effort I should put into it. Okay.
See, that's why I had you move to the next slide.
The next thing.
But then, yeah.
Now go back to the other slide, or are we still gonna go further west? If we need to go further west and come back east, that's fine.
No, let's go south. Let's go to the meat and potatoes. Okay,
No, that wasn't the main.
2550.
so. Maybe you take one down and pass it around. This is a little bit of a simplified version of the colors of the same map that you have up on the screen.
It's very difficult. Another one too?
Oh.
These just look like some.
The other one?
Did you get one?
Yeah.
You have one?
Right here.
Okay. Sorry.
Just for the direct.
Yeah, it feels so special.
Okay. So this one, forgive me, a little bit choppy.
Just a different one?
Yeah.
By no means a polished map. This is. But it is to start the conversation.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's right. You can take a marker if you want. Okay.
Charlie, you have to start hand coloring.
It'd probably be good for. Keep our focus.
Yeah, exactly.
The first page. The first page that I handed out isn't quite what the current general plan says. Sure, sorry, I had a couple of layers I left on. So just look at the screen, you can throw that one away.
Okay, which was the first one again? This one?
Go away.
Yep,
The one that has.
the one with a lot of green.
Okay.
Okay, so looking at the second page I gave you, plus what's on the screen, what's on the screen is current. This is just general shapes of what landowners and developers in the area have given us for some potential changes between 4700 West and 12th Street. So just to be clear on your maps and 4700 West, sorry, I said 12th Street, I'm in the river, 4700 West, river, Westbridge, right? So that's kind of what you're seeing here. So we're talking about 2550 south is right here. And then you got, on our current map, we've got the highway, West Weaver corridor coming through here. Okay, we've got a couple of issues with that. Should zoom down just a little bit so you can see. Okay. So right now on our map, we've got 5100 West.
Yeah.
Comes up to about 2550, little village, little small village node right in here. I mean, it's really not huge in acreage. We've got two issues. One issue is that these parcels right here, these parcels right here are owned by the state. And my understanding is that they're owned by the state, and Andrew, maybe you can tell me if I got this one wrong. Owned by the state, bought with funds, the same funds that purchased the property over here, that basically will require an act of Congress to build anything there but a bird refuge. Do you understand that any differently?
That's what I understand. Budgets were just done at a different time.
Okay.
40 years between, but
Still deed restricted in the same way. So if we're trying to get, I don't know why UDOT, this lighter line right here, that's the UDOT alignment from 2009. I have no idea why UDOT routed it through a piece of property that they knew they were gonna need some kind of congressional approval to build a highway through. So we need to find a way to avoid that piece. The other issue that we have at hand is there's a lot of wet in here, but we don't know how wet. Cause we don't have an official wetlands delineation. Nilson and team have lent us their wetlands mapper to show us the best areas both on the McFarland property as well as adjacent that a highway could potentially go. My guess, after just looking at all of this for the last 3 weeks, trying to figure out how exactly what order of operation is going to get us a freeway in here. My guess is if we leave it here, it's not going to happen. If we potentially go around, which you see on your map here, go around these two pieces here. So you're coming around through here. We have a couple of crossings that would have to happen, a couple of riverway crossings or streamway crossings, including the Weaver River itself. But it's far less wet going through here. I still think that's a far cry for UDOT. And my understanding of how the UDOT process it works has shifted just a little bit over the last month. The question that UDOT has to ask when they come out and they say, should we put a freeway here, isn't should we put a freeway here? It's if we're trying to put a freeway somewhere, where are all the places they can go and which one is the least impactful? That's the question they have to ask themselves. And so when we say, gosh, they're so stupid because free land, or free land or whatever it is, and they can just get a freeway in there. That's not the question. That's why on West Davis corridor, they had the land, they had the route, and they had to tear houses down, brand new houses down, because when they went through the process, it wasn't, can we put a freeway here? It is there a least environmentally impactful place to put it? And yeah, there was right through the middle of those homes, in at least one neighborhood there. So the way that I've been looking at this has been of what UDOT's complications are has been fundamentally flawed. I just thought they were being obstinate and trying to just pigeonhole themselves into a corner because they didn't want to have to deal with the expense of this. This isn't a matter of expense. This is a matter of what will give the region, not this community, the region the same outcome. Freeway going straight to the north, right through the middle of Black Pines project and right over the river to the north is probably an obvious answer. And that's why they're hedging that way, because they don't even need the study to look at the properties and say it is clearly less impactful to go north. So in my opinion, the only way we're going to see a freeway here is if it's less impactful to go here. And right now it's not. If there's a road built there, maybe it would be. If we knew 3, 4, 5 developers plus an inland port authority that had a little bit of funding and a little bit of incentive to build a road, we could get a nice road put in here that could actually provide that solution to UDOT. UDOT cannot, I think I mentioned to you guys before, or someone, that they don't want to be seen as cooking the books to the Fed. They don't want to be seen as going around the federal process. And so they're certainly not going to say, build a road over here so that we don't have to go through the federal process. And so that's not, we need to keep them insulated and distanced from the whole conversation. But if in 10 years from now, when they come in and they say this freeway is needed, should we go through all the houses and a little bit of wetland to the north, or do we go through this area where wetlands has already been mitigated and managed over here to the west? And I think the answer is hopefully going to be pretty clear. It'd be better to go this way. Still going to be some wetlands that need to be mitigated, I think, in that direction, especially. I don't know how high they're going to have to build the freeway. High enough that the 100-year flood event doesn't affect the way the road works.
No higher than what they've had to build, what they built already.
That's my thought as well. Right. And I think that's a nerve that I've asked them, and I think I hit a nerve because I think they ended up having to build it up higher than they wanted to, than they funded for, I think.
Okay.
So hopefully we can put something in place that incentivizes it. If it doesn't incentivize it and they still end up going north, fine. We got a nice county parkway that goes through this area, assuming we can get that done. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Well,
To change that route a little bit, to go around that WMA, which that WMA 80 acres sitting there by itself. Wow, okay, whoever idea that was up in the night.
Yeah,
But-
it could have been contiguous, but.
Yeah, contiguous with the other, what, 1,600 that they own or whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah,
And especially since there's only 1,320 feet that separates it anyway.
right,
Anyway, sorry.
Nope.
Little,
you're good.
little flare.
On this map here, you can kind of see, you got a, kind of a ghost dot with some, light dotted lines. That little square, that notch right there between the orange and the green, that's that, state property. These two properties right here is the state property, so you can kind of see the alignment that I have here is just a slight different than what, Lacey, what you sent over to me, mostly because I wanted to get it high enough to the north to, well, sorry, not here, high enough to the north here to, miss the, east branch of the Weaver. Is it south branch? South branch, yeah, south branch. So just one less thing to be in the way.
South Run.
South Run, so it's called. Some maps call it the Hooper or the Walker Slough, but I'm pretty sure Walker Slough's further to the east, right?
East, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The yellow polygon that you see on the map, that closely reflects what Nilson has provided us on the McFarland property. Well, it's not up on the screen, I should pull it up. But you guys can see how that yellow extends over into that green. And then that yellow being the R115-ish. With the orange on this new proposal being mixed residential. And that one was sort of provided by Flagship. For whatever reason, Flagship's version actually took in the 40-acre piece, that is the state piece, so I just excluded that from here. So with that in mind, what this shows is that 2550 it will come to an interchange right at that future quote unquote freeway. And right there where that highway is, it might be one side or the other, or it might be straddled on both sides, would be mixed use commercial, surrounded by mixed residential, surrounded by single family, large lot residential. What the Nilsons had asked for and what Flagship or Jeff Meads, should they pick up this orange piece, what they've asked for is no additional density as part of this. So if we change the map, we're not necessarily changing the density, we're just Flagship has already said in concert with Nilson and with this side of the river that they would just use the density that was allotted to them on the other side. On that side of this.
Yes.
So, we taking spread it out. Yeah, are we taking questions from public?
You said there's still stuff for failure last.
Yeah.
Keep it civil.
You got.
So if the chair allows.
I do Mark State with the, I'm going doing Westbridge. On the flooding season. I would say that because of the impact now that there's going to suffer with freeway. And we ought to be able to have the same orange option. We have a lot more wetlands that we're having to work around in order to financially make it work, and I think make it better community. We're gonna be the ones who're gonna have to help fund getting 2550 all the way around over the river and connected all the way over to 7500. That part of the way the county can help support that will give us some more flexibility in the general plan to work. What's gonna go on in the planning piece as well.
Different housing options.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I don't know if that's for me part of the discussion today. I mean, we spent a shitload of time on that one development. So I don't know. I feel like we had that one pretty,
Nailed down.
yeah. Which one? The Westbridge one, is that what you're talking about?
No, it's talking about in the.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you said, I thought you said, I apologize.
No, they're working with Westbridge.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
We're doing.
It's that green area.
Okay.
It's talking about.
Then yes, for McFarland, I would consider it. I mean, I really like the proposal that came through before, as far as the way everything was laid out. Not saying that you couldn't do different stuff inside there, but I like where your open space was and everything.
What I was saying is, but to have the right housing types and to be able to have affordability, which we've been the biggest over in the county. Having the flexibility, of having the same type of mixed use zoning there would be, I think it's very trade off with all the other things we're doing. And
Yes,
ask you to consider.
I think that seeing that we're trying to hopefully, and again, spitballing again. Trying to guide this road to be where we think it should be. Having a major highway like that, yeah, we should have other options for housing than just single family stuff, because that's what we just been talking about that with the railroad tracks are. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to that. As far as more opportunity,
It's
more
looking,
flexibility, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you.
Opportunity for young families to have a place to live.
right,
So one thing about the green in here, and you can see on this map, the blue crosshatch, that shows floodplain. So any kind of development that happens in here is gonna have to be brought up or lifted out of the floodplain or work with FEMA to change the maps or whatever is needed. Working with the same developers or group of developers on both sides of the river is gonna really be helpful with that.
Yeah.
This being 50, what did I say, 5,100?
Yeah.
That's that 1 acre, right?
Yes.
That 1 acre development right there. If you look at the map that's in your hand, you get a little bit of mixed commercial, sorry, trying to do this in a way that it would flip you all off. A little bit of mixed commercial, or not mixed commercial, mixed residential along 5,100. Would it be better just to keep it all on this side of 5,100? There is a little bit of a buffer, but it's not much of a buffer from those.
cause those are those houses that the one guy came in and tried to change
Yes.
the stuff.
Yep.
Okay,
I,
so,
I'm not opposed to have
30 acre lots.
more options necessarily right behind. I just didn't like his proposal of putting it right next door to something that was already. in one.
so that's what that is, though, is right next door.
Well, I mean, like
to these
within the
houses,
same
right?
development.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah,
Yeah,
but this will touch that development, right?
It would.
order it.
The way that this is drawn, it wouldn't. I left a little bit of a R115 third acre between. I kind of think the folks who move in there are probably gonna be upset about the 3rd acre lots even, but we do have a rezone for the rest of that developer's property for the 3rd acre lots, so I think we're gonna
But
deal with
if
it.
you're having a major highway there, that's one way to
Yeah.
buffer it.
And,
Yeah,
and it's
it is
still
great.
in the general plan as a village area there that cuts through that subdivision. If you look at that,
Yeah, the corner of it, right?
yeah, it does. Yeah, about what, half a dozen lots,
Right here.
no, right there, yeah, right there.
Yeah. Okay, so as long as we're okay with this.
And if it
This is the
was-
easy part of the conversation.
If it was a concern. We could have them be creative within that single development, saying, hey, bigger lots on this back end that borders the southern neighborhood and then go to each smaller lots.
Yeah.
Like we've done in some of the other ones.
Transition.
UDOT's argument is going to be that it's, you've already said, straight up 5,100, no doubt, and that might be where it ends up. But this option is better for long term to get that traffic. That flow further west. That comes back to what I was saying about 12th Street and 4,700. It gets rid of that heavy traffic
Yes.
in that area.
Agreed.
So I don't know if you intended to go 360 degrees, but I went 360 degrees with your conversation.
It's perfect.
And I'm right back there. And did we make the decision on that one? That we were gonna squeeze the orange in a little bit or where?
I thought I heard yes, squeeze the orange, but
Then there you
On
go.
one side.
From one.
Side,
Works.
and then further out, get rid of it.
Squeeze it on the
Yeah.
other side.
The other side
Then
too.
that makes it work.
orange juice on one side, not the other.
There you go.
Grape juice on the
Grape
end.
juice on the other. Great.
But stop the grape juice and the orange
Yeah.
juice.
Oh, I get it.
So the map proposal that I bring you guys is gonna have a plan alternative. The plan alternative is gonna be that the freeway goes straight north. And I'm probably gonna use one of UDOT's current 3 ideas of where that goes, just so that we know we're planning for both. When UDOT chooses, they choose, right? We just don't wanna put something right in the way that it's just gonna be torn down. Just doesn't make a lot, unless you guys do, but.
I think we're faster than Utah.
I think so too. I think
I
that,
think we'll be well positioned for it to swing out.
well,
It's a long time before they're even thinking about
I
it.
hope so.
As the
And their
information,
money doesn't come north.
Right,
It doesn't.
right. I agree.
so has the information been passed along that we gathered between the property owners and the county
To UDOT,
to UDOT or to the,
Not yet.
legislative committees? I'm not sure where that was going to end up.
we're still trying to get the last few property owners on that list, but as soon as we have them, it'll be there. And I think it's gonna be part of this discussion as we say, hey, we just adopted a new general plan map, we moved the alignment to somewhere that might be a little more suitable for you guys, and if you guys don't end up building it here, great, sounds like a great county, byway, that'll go there. And then they can choose what they wanna do in the future. I really do think that if we stop asking the question, where's the freeway gonna go to UDOT? They'll stop asking us. I think the only reason they're asking now is because they got some pressure from the county. And it kind of backfired on us a little bit, because we didn't fully understand the way the environmental process was gonna play out. So. Okay,
Charlie, do we need to get our crayons out before, have we already decided on the bottom of 2250, starting at 2200?
This one.
what I heard was everything that's on this map that is shown as green, that is now shown as yellow on this map is now, it will be orange next week. You guys okay with that, mixed residential?
I'm good.
Is it all owned by the same person right now?
Mm-mm. No, in fact, the parcels that we're looking at here are owned by two different owners. And that leads to my next question, but go ahead and finish.
I'm just concerned about the expectation sets because we don't really want it all orange. That maximum we want to see, not the. We want to see some diversity in it, and I'm just afraid that expectation is going to
So
backfire on us.
orange mixed residential is defined, if you remember from the plan, is defined as anything from single family to other kinds of residential. It doesn't define in the plan what that is. Basically says developer, show us something that we can't.
It's
reduce.
still 3 units per acre though.
No, it can be higher. We haven't defined what that.
That's
higher
what I
is.
worry about is I don't mind having a mix of homes, but going to more. A higher density, because the minute we make that orange. Then appraisers come out there and they appraise that land for more and it sets a different expectation.
I think to appease that, for those that are more familiar, I think if we stay to the south side of 2200, it would appease that, right? I mean, the 2200 doesn't go that far down, but if we're talking about McFarland's piece that they have right now, if we made that orange, but nothing north of that orange, that would appease Sarah, right? As far as only one landowner and not getting too
And
much.
it's already tied to a density with their development agreement. Wait,
With a development agreement that could become part of this at some point in the future, yes.
There you go.
Well,
Am I
okay.
saying that correct, Charlie?
Yeah, I want you guys to remember that. We are in the business of setting expectations, so I very much appreciate, Sarah, what you're saying. On the flip side of that, the rezone's still legislative. If they match the map, you could still say no. You could still say that doesn't give us what we were looking
but
for.
it just makes for weeks and weeks battling out with the developer who thinks, and a landowner who thinks they're entitled to it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just been down
makes
the
it
road too much. And it just- I think, so I'd rather see it yellow and then we make the legislative decision to make it orange than to go the other way. I guess it depends on who you're disappointing, the public
know,
or the.
I think that when we did the disservice we did to everybody, the current owners of the property and the developers and everybody in between, when we did this originally, was that we didn't go from 1 acre to 3 acres with expectations, with boxes to check. I think that was a mistake. And I think I'm not, don't take it that I'm totally against what you're saying, because I understand what you're saying. But I think we're doing that same thing. We can still say that it doesn't fit. And if the developer thinks that they have a product that they want to fight for to get it, then they'll fight for to get it. That's how I feel about it. Because it's still gotta go through that process, even though it's orange. That's my opinion.
You want me to, what if I crosshatch it? Orange, yellow? Now you
I
got
feel
options.
better about that. There's a lot of talk in the legislature about how permanent our general plans are as well. And so that's in the back of my mind where there may be a point in time where we have to do what our general plan says and we don't get that option. So I get a little, that is the other thing that lingers.
Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, it is that perception to the landowner that, hey, this is what it shows I should be able to do. I should be able to do that.
And
What
to
other
the
guy could they
appraiser,
have? So,
the reality is our general plan is looked at by land appraisers.
Hmm.
And they are saying highest and best use is according to the general plan. So it has more strings attached than we are giving it.
But if you do the orange with the yellow, then
Gives you the
it
options.
gives you the options.
It tells the developer, we're not quite sure, why don't you tell us what you wanna do and we'll tell you whether we like it. Which is kind of what the orange is supposed to be anyway, but yeah, the yellow says, hey, maybe it's more on the.
What color does that make?
Well, I would just do a cross hatch, if you want, I could. I could canter- I could canter all up.
But then if they come with a good concept plan and we all feel like then it's something that you can do.
Yep, then you can say,
And-
that
and-
clearly says it could be either or, let's go with the or.
Okay.
I like that, I like that, you guys okay with that?
Yeah, because I agree with you, sir. I think that we could be more creative next to this road, but the next parcel maybe wouldn't justify that. So, yeah, crosshatch at least that one.
Let me ask you guys, and I don't know, this may not go very much further than my question. But what about where those polygons exist in other parts of the unincorporated area? What if all the edges of the orange had a little bit of crosshatch? So there's a little bit of transition between mixed and single family, a little bit of transition between.
We can guide better then.
No,
Because it's an average density, all that means is we can naturally ask them to create that by pushing more of their density to the edges.
right,
For me, and this is just such a black and white thing, like, I do not think the development community, most of the development community, I mean, we've got some sophisticated developers here, but most of the development community does not understand the legislative process.
right, agreed.
And so I think the more black and white we can be, the better.
Okay, perfect. What about north of the yellow, the yellow shapes that you see on this map here? So there's still a lot more green in there until you get up to, actually, the top of that. Sorry, let me bring this down for you. So we're seeing 1800 swing up into 1600 down again. Our West Ridge project, we set it on them that they're going to 1800, they're not using the 1600 swing, so. You can see 1800 right here in the corner of your map.
Okay.
Just imagine it goes straight across,
Oh, sure. Okay.
and if it goes straight across, the color would buffer it as well.
Okay.
So we'll make that adjustment. That was an easy adjustment. I don't know why I didn't make that one with you guys. Between this yellow on the McFarland property and the orangish that buffers that highway or 1800s, what do you guys see in that? That's, nobody's given us a proposal, so we haven't really put any pen and paper on that.
Can I speak to that?
You want to take comments?
The landowners out there are not aware that they're supposed to submit a proposal. We've been working with them all, we thought all of this was gonna be yellow. Every square inch of this. Then when we go in and we have to define where our open space is, we bring that plan in, the planning commission will see it.
Yeah.
But if I'm interpreting this, that the general plan says this has to be open space. And I don't get my units per acre for that, that's gonna take away millions and millions of dollars from these landowners.
I see what you're saying.
And so I think, excuse me, I'm not you, and I apologize for coming off really strong. I think all of this land should be yellow, but then it's the landowner and developer's responsibility to come back to you and to make the case that, hey, we did a delineation. Here's the actual area that's wet. And you're not forcing them to not have an opportunity to develop the property.
What do you guys think? Yeah,
I mean, I wanna preserve the open space that we want, but I agree with that argument. If it's not usable property, it gets controlled.
I think we should
protect
personal ownership.
Every project has to come through with elevations and surveys. And what are we really looking at? Yeah, what can you do?
So what I was trying to say is, yes, I think that it would be fair to say, okay, we need to figure out what is actually usable land, because open space is just open space, right?
going north of the McFarland property, just from my own observation, I don't know that we're gonna see a lot of terribly wet property. McFarland, just a little bit north of it and east and then south, it gets really wet down there.
Right.
And so I think it's probably more likely we'll see more proposals for development north of the McFarland property.
Charlie, can I just maybe speak to the meeting we had with all the landowners and Andy? Almost all of the landowners in that area. So what we kind of concluded together with the general plan changes. That you remember what that was?
Could you say that a little louder?
Well, we had a meeting with all of the landowners in that area, and every one of them are good with going forward with the change to the general plan. They're not wanting to, a lot of them don't want to sell right now, but they're
have the opportunity to develop.
Yeah, they want.
I'm not
they
changing
want
city
to.
yellow, so that gives them a 3rd acre.
They're very unhappy with the green on the map that was never asked if that was okay with them. It's all farmland, it's not wetlands.
Yeah, the thing is, that's more buildable land.
Yeah,
It's very buildable.
Then this
Than
down
the
here.
one
that's
further
what-
south.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
And I agree that we can look at that as a whole as they come through. You know, we always say, you know, if you're the first one to propose it, then you have an advantage, right? So. I don't disagree that could be yellow,
Good,
I think that
that makes it easy. Thank you.
for the wetlands,
especially when we're already gonna have wetlands.
yeah, the Corps of Engineers is gonna govern it. We don't have to govern it. They're gonna tell.
They're gonna
us
tell
we're
them
not
they
doing it.
can, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Or if their remediation costs much, they know.
Right, yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so I'm seeing on the McFarland property that goes yellow, orange. The rest of it, the north goes yellow. And everything's okay on the piece to the south? The orange with the mixed commercial,
What's the grade in
Gray's a different city
Oh,
and also very wet.
Yeah, I think, remind me what red is though, just so.
Mixed commercial, mixed use commercial.
Okay.
So that's kind of another little village core,
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
over
okay
there
with
on
it being
that
orange.
side of the river or west.
this one here.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, which you can kind of see, I don't know why there's a rendering of it, but you can see that what we have on this map over here is now introduced to orange over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just kind of shifting that a little bit and making the overall whole bigger in terms of the intensity. Okay. Everybody okay with that? I'm gonna produce a map and I'm gonna try and get it in your guys' hands by email here in the next couple of days, so you can either tell me it's great or not. Okay.
And, okay, that's good.
So you can remind us of all these conversations we had.
Remember when you said? You were to go.
Send slide number 1 and then slide number 2.
Yes.
Please, you do 1 and 2, 1 and 2.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna try and do. There's a program where you have the image and you just take the slider and you move the slider back and forth and you can see exactly what
Oh,
the
1 and
change
2,
should be.
okay.
So I'm
That
gonna
would be cool.
promise we're gonna try very hard to do
Okay, and
it.
if not, if you just do a 1 and a 2.
The problem with it though is if you do it so many times, you forget which one's which.
Yeah, exactly, which one is what, so you
And then
might
you
have
become blurry.
to put 1 and 2.
Which would only take me about 2 times. Which one's which?
Okay, so we talked about changes over by the port, we talked about 47th and 12th, we talked about the area around McFarland property and 2550. There are 2 hearings published for next week. One is for these changes, the other one is for the Ogden Valley, drafting the Ogden Valley general plan into as an addendum to this general plan, so that'll be on your agenda too. I actually thought that had already gone through you guys, but apparently we just did work session. I thought it was ready for the commissioners, so, yeah, it's.
I thought we
Really-
did that too.
I thought we did too, but,
Oh, no,
feels come out of me, we never did
Did we fail to vote?
what's that?
Fail to vote on it?
Well, I mean, we didn't take it to a hearing, and so, yeah, no vote could happen, but I know that we came to consensus on what it should be.
I thought we were through the process.
If you guys are aware of something that Felix isn't aware of, let me know, if you can think of a hearing date, but I went back and tried to look through.
Did we go through, we did the whole, code amendment.
Yeah.
But it was not part of the plan.
Okay,
That's why, okay, I think of the code.
But I figure if we can get that one done, we'll probably get it through the county commissioners before we get this one to the county commissioners, within a matter of weeks. We could draft all that into the plan so that we don't have to adjust the plan. Part of my goal here is just in case we get elected officials that never want to change the plan again. By the end of the year, we'll actually have the plan that we think we have all in one document, okay? If possible. The other part of that is water conservation changes. I think you guys already passed on positive recommendation on water conservation. Actually, the county commission might have as well. So you might see some of that text automatically just into the draft document that we'll have in front of you. And then last but not least, item number 4, the county's been working on taking what is in your PDF published document, taking it back to a Word document, kind of like you guys saw when we were going through the general plan process. So we'll have that Word document here, pretty well ready. We have asked AI to scan it and find all the places where it says Western Weaver General Plan and change it to Weaver County Unincorporated Area General Plan. And then carve out spaces for unincorporated Ogden Valley. We'll treat unincorporated Ogden Valley the same way we treated the Uinta Highlands. I don't know if you remember how we did that, but we had West Weaver and we had a whole section about West Weaver and then a little paragraph about Uinta Highlands and then a little paragraph about Ogden Valley.
We updated the Uinta Highlands too, right?
With it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Uinta Highlands is part of the Western Weaver General Plan. Now, after these little adjustments, it'll just be the Weaver County General Plan and Uinta Highlands. When we go out and post notices there, they'll say, why are we getting a notice for Western Weaver? We're not in Western Weaver. We did hear a lot of that.
Yeah, nobody has any idea what I do on this. Like, why you okay?
Right. Okay, was there anything else that we missed on that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Depending on how things flow over the next couple of days and depending on our how ready we are for next week. There's updated statistics that we could also add in to the plan. I don't want to make it too complicated and I don't want to overdo it. So you may see something next week, you may not, but I think it'd be really interesting to have some of our new statistics in the plan. How many acres? So if you remember from our plan, we have how many acres flipped from ag to residential from 2002 to 2022? How many have flipped from ag to residential from 22 to now? That's actually, I had that number pulled the other day. It's a really interesting number. As well as how many entitlements have been issued. But the really interesting one, entitlements are great as long as the market, actually keeps pace. The really interesting thing is how many building permits have been actually issued. And I can tell you from 2003 to 2022 versus from 2003 to 2020 versus from 20 to now. That small gap we've done, what did I say, four times as many building permits. So in 4.5 years, we've done 4 times as many building permits as we did in almost 20.
I think the 2 schools helped us too, Charlie.
The
2 schools.
schools out there, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I think we gave building permits and then they had to build the schools.
So anyway, lots of stats that we can add in. We don't have it, but
I like the mention of the first steps, and I hope that some people that voiced some things earlier hear that, because my experience here has taught me that, people come in and complain about any development at all, and then 6 months to a year later, they're here proposing something.
I'm still with them, but I'm still an American.
I get it, but yeah, right.
yeah, it speaks right to that statement, actually.
But to have, I'm trying to keep it simple, some of the strong accusations that Andrew addressed earlier from those types of people, when they come here wanting the same thing that they were fighting so hard against. So.
Yeah.
I wasn't offended because I'm used to it.
I think it was Wayne in one of our meetings who said something like, everybody says you people until you realize tomorrow you are one of those people. Anyway,
Yeah,
anything else we need to go over?
Sarah's gotta be nice to the land.
Nice to everybody, not.
Sarah, what'd you say, sir?
She's gotta be nice to the land.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Oh, nice in the land.
Yeah, let's give our attention to Rick for a moment.
Just so you're aware, over the last few years, we have lost 4 positions in the planning division. One with Iris retiring, some of the others. And I intentionally didn't fill those positions because of the Ogden Valley, and we wanted to see where we were, because the last thing I want to do is lay anyone off. And we've been able to adjust the numbers and everything, and today the commission approved planner 2 position. So we will be getting another planner back, and so just so you're aware.
Are they gonna run away like they did in Fort because of Charlie or something?
Well, that's the X factor.
Okay.
So, we
Kinder, Charlie.
I like it better when we had Ogden Valley radio, cause then you could always see how good we.
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody compares to now.
I think there's still some PTSD factor.
Yeah,
We can live on it. It's anything else.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Rick.
That's why it's like.
Yes.
Okay, I guess with that,
You done?
are we, we're done?
It is.
Maybe did you quit recording?
Marta. Marta.